There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz .jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
The clinical trial market as we know it is about to change. We're revolutionizing the current state aligned to disparate, slow, and often manual processes. Optum's vision is to transform the drug development process to one that is centered and grounded in real-world patient behavior and physician practice. Optum's ability to access this unique network and fold in the strongest data and analytics expertise will enable us to jointly bring life-saving drugs to the patients who need it most. Join us in this partnership to bring our shared vision for real-time, real-world healthcare research for real patients.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Marketing Me. We are live today at ICI College and La Consolacion, University of the Philippines. So today we will be joined by speakers from FactSet, EY Philippines, and Inspiro. So before we start, we'd like to invite you for a short prayer followed by the national anthem.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below.
All right, so welcome people. Thank you for being on time. So we'd like to know where you're from. Please comment your name, your school, and course in the comment section. But to officially start our session for this afternoon, we'd like to invite Attorney Nermita L. Villanueva of ICI College President to give us the opening remarks.
Good day, everyone. It is my pleasure to be part of the webinar for our graduating students. And I would like to congratulate in advance the organizers of Jobs180.com, particularly Professor Filipina Galera. This is one of the many initiatives in our guidance office in assisting all graduating students in finding jobs and landing a place after graduation. We are all about taking and who is being well informed, well guided, and well prepared. Hence, stay calm, listen, participate, interact, enjoy the seminar, and my well wishes for you stand with you. May you start preparing to make a more productive life after the pandemic. God bless and congratulations. Mabuhay ang ICI.
And now to represent LCUP, would like to call on Ms. Maria Isabel Guevara, Student Welfare Services Coordinator for LCUP, to give us another opening remarks. Hi, ma'am. You're live
Hello.
po.
Okay. Yes.
We'll put you on spotlight, ma'am.
Okay. So, a pleasant afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome our distinguished resource persons, school administrators, faculty, personnel, students, and other attendees to this career orientation webinar on online applications, virtual interviews, developing strong work ethics, and stress management. Topics that would definitely be very helpful in the career preparation of the graduating college students and career advancement of the graduate study students. The COVID-19 pandemic has transformed nearly every aspect of our lives: attendance to classes, work arrangements, social activities, and people interactions. Specifically, the crisis created disruption of services and gaps even in the world of work. Millions have lost their jobs and therefore their sources of income. Now, the competition for new work opportunities have become strong, and graduating students as future professionals need to prepare well, including the others who aim for career advancement. It is essential to come up with clear career plans, as this will give you direction in your chosen profession. The topics for today's webinar are well chosen. Through this virtual career orientation activity, you will be provided tips and advices on how to sell or market yourselves to the employers. You will be provided useful tips for creating professional online application profiles and preparing for online job interviews. Your manner of preparing your application letter and resume, responses to interview questions are all important tools to make you stand out from the other applicants. Employers have countless job application forms and resume to sort through, interviews to conduct. You need to know the techniques that will make them notice you and prioritize you for selection and placement. The speakers will also teach you techniques or strategies to develop strong work ethics. Work ethics is synonymous with professionalism, integrity, respect for work and coworkers, and more importantly, discipline. These are vital elements that will make you true professionals and be seen as such. Lastly, the stress management topic is timely and appropriate. The uncertainties during the pandemic have caused a lot of stress in the lives of people, regardless of age, gender, or economic status. Stress management is essential for good physical and mental health, and it is especially important right now as we are still in the health crisis. The crisis will definitely pass sooner or later, but we need to arm ourselves with ways to manage ourselves with or without the pandemic. We are blessed that we have people who are advocates of helping. And on behalf of the university, I would like to thank our resource persons for being with us today, giving their time, providing guidance, sharing knowledge, and their expertise. Thank you very much. May God protect and bless us all. Again, good afternoon.
Thank you for that, Miss Mabel. Thank you po. Have a great day po, and thank you for being with us po this afternoon. Thank you, ma'am. All right, now let's give another try to the opening remarks earlier from ICI College, because we were advised that there were no video, there was no audio. So let's check if we can play it again.
It is my pleasure to be part of the webinar for our graduating students, and I would like to congratulate in advance the organizers of Jobs180.com, particularly Professor Filipina de Leon. This is one of the many initiatives of our guidance office in assisting all graduating students in finding jobs and finding a place after graduation. We are all about to know and you must be well informed, well-guided, and well-prepared. Hence, stay calm, listen, participate, interact, enjoy the seminar, and manifest dreams and beyond. May you start preparing to make a more productive life after the pandemic. God bless and congratulations. Mabuhay ang ICI.
Again, sorry, apologies. No, that's the best we can do because it's a recorded material. So we couldn't increase the audio as much as we could. No, hindi namin siya magagawa right now. Okay, so let's try to move on. So thank you to all those who gave us the remarks, messages earlier. So here are our topics that will be discussed this afternoon. So we will be starting with online applications, virtual interviews, developing strong work ethics, and motivation, productivity, and stress management. Okay. So to start with, we'd like to call our first speaker. Our first speaker is Sir Kim Chua. He is the managing director for jobs180.com. He has 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, business development, customer service, operations, business process, and human resources. He is a trusted research speaker, and he has done over 1,000 career development seminars in more than 400 plus colleges and universities nationwide. So please, if you have questions for Sir Kim's topic, just put it in the comment section and we'll try to address it after his talk. Sir Kim, if you're ready, take it away. The floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
Afternoon, everyone. Allow me to share to you how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. A lot of you are now looking for a job and exploring for the next chapter in your life. I hope that this session will be able to help you. No, not only you, but the people that you know that needs help in terms of how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. So yan na tinatawag nating resume link. A lot of platforms right now, mga online platforms are being offered left and right. But for you to know paano to magiging job-winning tool or job-winning resume to, meron akong checklist. So go with me, no, with all these checklists. Your checklist should include the following. Number one, kailangan mag-stand out ka. When you look for a job, you have to be able to stand out. Because if you're not going to be able to stand out, then I think you'll just be part of the crowd. You'll be one of the next applicant na wala lang, na hindi mapapansin. Another thing that should be in your checklist is that you should only have one file. Hindi dapat maraming files na iba-iba sinesend sa mga companies. Mas maganda, isang file lang para pag sinend mo, lahat ng details mo nandoon na. Another thing in your checklist is that it should make the process more efficient. Ibig sabihin, mas mabilis mag-submit, mas mabilis makita ng HR, at mas mabilis kayo makontak for possible next steps na or possible job offer na. Now, another thing in my checklist is that dapat tipid ito, wala itong gastos. The tool that I will show you today, wala itong gastos. Libre po ito. At higit sa lahat, ito ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. This should be in your checklist. The tool should be secured. Okay, more than anything, importante talaga ang data. Pero ang data ninyo, dapat yung protectionan. And using this tool, this is the most secured resume kung tawagin. Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Let me go through the next slides na. Okay? Ito ang tinatawag na resume link. Okay? A personalized URL for anyone can open online anytime. I will use an example para makarelate kayo. If you are John Santos, ang link mo or resume link mo pwede maging johnsantos.jobs180.com. Ganun lang kasimple. At yan na po ang resume link nyo. So how do you make one? Go with me through the 3 simple steps. First step is you have to register. Absolutely wala tong bayad. Libre po ito. How do you register? You go to the website of jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com at dun ka mag-register on the upper right side of your screen. Now, as you do that, you have to put the basic information. Okay? So, alam nyo na ano mga information yan. Hindi ko na isa-isahin. Babawasan nyo naman at alam nyo naman ano dapat ilagay. Now, as you create your account, you have to use a valid email. Okay? Now, before we go to the email, paalala ko lang, sa mga nag-isip sa inyo, paano kung hindi ako si John Santos, ano gagawin kong resume link? O yan, baka nag-isip kayo eh. So, if ever lang, mayroon kang kapangalan, okay, just so happen na may ibang John Santos na nauna sa inyo, ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon doon na red na box, sasabihin niya, this name has already been taken. Huwag kayong malungkot, pag taken na, okay lang, just be creative. Pwede mo gawin, baliktarin mo, gawin mo santosjohn.jobs180.com o kaya J Santos o kaya Santos J o kaya JS o kaya SJ. Depende kung ano gusto mo gawin. Basta importante, wala kang kapangalan. Okay? Wala kang kapareho. Now, when you do this, huwag kayong OA. Do not create yung mga ganong klaseng over-creative na mga resume link because it doesn't look professional. Imagine submitting to a company with your resume link that says eljablo.jobs180.com. Hindi yan mukhang professional. Okay? Now, when you register, please use a valid email. Ito yung emphasis ko lang sa pag-create nyo ng account na dapat gamitin yung email, yung nabubuksan yung email, kagaya ng Gmail, Yahoo, or any email na nabubuksan nyo. Do not create, example lang yung mga email na kagaya ng ganito, patricia@facebook.com na email. Huwag kang gagamit ng joseph@facebook.com na email to register. In short, huwag mong gagamitin yung @facebook.com na email. Because if you use @facebook.com na email, you will no longer be able to receive notification being sent to you by the companies as well as jobs180.com. Importante po na nabubuksan nyo yung email nyo kasi kailangan mo i-verify yung account mo. Okay? It is very important that you verify your account as a proof na ikaw nag-register at pangalawa, para ikaw ay makapag-apply. If you don't do this, if you don't verify, walang mangyayari sa account nyo. Okay? So, sayang lang. So, you have to verify to finish the first step. Okay? How do you verify? Just open your email, look for the link, click mo yung verify, you're done with the first step. Okay? Tapos na yung first step. Ano yung first step? Register. Wala tong bayad. Let's go to the second step. Ang second step, ang pinaka-logical sa lahat. Kailangan kumpleto ang detalye nyo. So how do you do that? You go back again to your account by going to the website of jobs180.com. This time, hindi mo kailangan mag-register. Ang gagawin mo, mag-login. Pag login mo, lagay mo dito yung email nyo or resume link nyo, kayo lang may alam yan, at lalo na yung password nyo na kayo lang talaga may alam yan. So when you do that, you now go inside your account. Pag nasa loob na kayo ng account nyo, ano gagawin nyo? Mabilis na lang ito. Fill in the blanks. Okay? Now, I don't have to go through all the information here because definitely, alam mo naman pag sinabi ditong name, malamang pangalan nyo. Pag nakalagay dito address, malamang address nyo. Diba? So, you put all the information ninyo dito. Okay? Lagay nyo. Then, what else do you put in here? Importante po, lagay dito lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak ng isang HR. Kagaya ng social media account nyo. Diba? Hindi lang email tsaka phone number. Bakit? Most of the time, ano nangyayari? Okay, let me tell you. Marami sa inyo nilalagay nyo phone number nyo. Pero pag tinatawagan kayo ng HR, hindi nyo sinasagot. Lalo na pag hindi mo kilala. Hala, sino kaya ito? Hindi mo sasagutin. Diba? Kasi takot kayo, baka nagsascam or whoever yung tumatawag. So, ano mangyayari sa mga HR? Mag-i-email kami ngayon sa inyo. But you don't open email more often that you open your social media account. So, I recommend lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak na isang HR, ilagay mo dito. Kagaya ng mga Facebook nyo or Twitter nyo para mabilis tayo makapag-PM. Private message, makapag-invite for the next step. Okay? What else do you put here? You also put here your work options, yung mga work experience nyo. Pagdating po sa work options, you can see on the screen, you have 4 options na pwede nyo pagpilian. Parang switch lang yan. Yes, no switch, on, off switch. So you can choose here, example, looking for OJT, lagay mo yes if you're looking for OJT right now. And later on, pag hindi na, turn it off. Lagay mo na no. Diba? So depende yan kung anong mas trip nyo or anong mas pasok dun sa hinahanap nyo right now. What the system will do is it will try to match you with companies who are also looking for the same profile with what you have. Yan yung kagandahan ng tool natin. Hindi mo kailangan mag-door-to-door para mag-submit ng resume link ninyo. Okay? What else do you put here? You put here your school under education. Even later on, okay, pagka-graduate nyo, you can also put here your schools. Yung mga nag-take pa kayo ng further studies, pwede mo rin ilagay dito. Okay, so walang limit sa space yan. Pagdating mo sa seminars attended, ganun din. Kahit gaano karami, pwede nyo ilagay dito. Kahit magkopyahan pa kayo. Just make sure lang alam mo yung seminar na yon. Kaya baka matanong ka sa interview. Pagdating po sa certification, ganun din. Put all the certification programs that you've had, you put it here. Okay? When it comes to the achievement, do not limit your achievement only inside the school. Hindi lahat na nakikinig ngayon ay Dean's Lister. Hindi kayo lahat dito ay honor student. Diba? Ayan, nag-agree marami sa inyo. So, hindi lang po ang achievement nakabase sa academic excellence. Some of you are student leaders. So, if you're active sa school, you also put it here kung ano yung mga pinagkakaabalahan nyo. And hindi lang sa loob ng school, even outside the school. If you're active in your barangay, halimbawa, isa kang tanod, ilagay mo dyan. Diba? Yan yung mga achievement ninyo. So you put it here. Bakit? Because what you're doing now is you're trying to market yourself more effectively to that prospective company. Okay? Now, when it comes to the skills and languages, ito yung common observation namin mga HR. Pagdating sa skills, nilalagay mo lang na skills yung mga umiikot lang sa course nyo. Hindi porkat communication arts ang course mo, com arts lang ang skills na alam mo. Hindi porkat engineering ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang engineering. Hindi porkat tourism or HRM ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang tourism at pang HRM. Maybe some of you are into multimedia, into photography, into videography, into something else, arts, crafts, whatever. Lahat ng yan, skills nyo yan. Remember, what you're doing here is you're marketing yourself more effectively. Kaya kung ako sa inyo, ilagay mo dito lahat ng skills na alam ninyo. Pagdating po sa languages, ganun din. Huwag mong ilimit yan sa dalawang lengguwahe lang. Because I'm sure alam nyo na yung dalawa. Kung dalawa lang talaga alam nyo, din dalawa lang. Ano tong dalawang to? English and Tagalog or Filipino. Okay? Now, if you know other local dialect, Bisaya, Kapampangan, Sabacano, Ilonggo, you can also put it here. If you know foreign languages, German, French, Chinese, Japanese, diba, Korean, pwede mo ilagay dyan. Okay? Walang limit sa space yan. When it comes to the references, sigurado ko yung mga references nyo, kilala nyo. Ang malaking tanong dito kayo ba'y kilala nila? Sana oo, di ba? Kasi madalas pag tumatawag kami sa mga references nyo, hindi kayo maalala. So please tell them, ginawa nyo silang reference para at least they know what to tell about you. Okay? Now at this point, to make your life easier, kung sakali lang nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo in your Word file or maybe in your doc file, depende kung anong file nyo, PDF file, whatever file you have. Kung nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo, simple na lang. Just copy all the information inside dito. No, ilagay mo sa loob ng resume link. Just transfer them here inside the resume link para maging secured yung data nyo. Okay? Kung bakit secured, I'll tell you as we go along. Okay? So yung mga sinabi ko, I think alam nyo na yan. Alam nyo na yan. Okay? Itong mga susunod kong papakita, ito yung mga amazing na portion. Let me start with the portfolio section. Ano yung portfolio section? This is the part where you now upload evidence of your skills. Example, ano ebidensya na graduate na kayo later on? Diploma, di ba? Transcript. Ano pa? Toga, hindi ebidensya yung toga. Okay? Kung ano man meron nyo, di ba? Certificate, diploma, yan, ebidensya yan. Okay? Kung transcript of records is evidence na graduate na kayo. Ano ebidensya na wala kayong criminal record? NBA clearance, police clearance, di ba? Ano ebidensya na pwede ka pumunta sa ibang bansa? Passport, visa, lahat ng mga sinasabi mong mga skills mo or yung mga what you're claiming that you know, you can now support them here sa portfolio section by showing those documents. Diba? Anong ebidensya na ikaw ay healthy? Meron kang medical clearance. Anong ebidensya na pwede kang mag-drive ng sasakyan? Meron kang driver's license. Diba? So gets nyo na yung sinasabi ko. Ang point ko lang is you can now put the things here to support yung claim nyo of your skills. Now, you're starting to think, Sir, kung pare-pareho naman kaming graduate sa school namin, pare-pareho kami magkakaklase, same yung course namin, same yung school, same yung teachers, same yung curriculum, pare-pareho lang naman kami lahat, walang experience sa trabaho, how will we stand out? Ayan, di ba? Okay, ito ngayon yung isang magandang recommendation ko sa inyo on how you now stand out. You get your smartphones. Kunin mo yung mga smartphones nyo. Kung wala, manghiram sa kaibigan. Okay, hiram mo sa kaibigan mo. I-record mo yung selfie video mo. You say something interesting about yourself. Record it in about 30 seconds to 1 minute lang. Huwag na masyadong mahaba. Ano gagawin mo? Pretend that you are being interviewed by the HR. So you answer basic questions like, tell me something about yourself. O, di ba? Ano yung mga gasgas sa tanong natin? Why should we hire you? O, di ba? Just imagine na tinanong ka ng HR at sasagutin mo na lang siya. Ang maganda lang ngayon, recorded mo. So, kung di mo type yung sagot, edi-delete mo. Pag type mo, you save it. Then you upload it sa YouTube or sa Vimeo. Maraming mga video channel na libre, yung mga video converter sa online. Hanapin mo lang. And when you're done, you put that video link doon sa portfolio section nyo. O, di ba? This time, it will definitely make you stand out because depende na to sa diskarte mo on how you're going to present yourself. Okay? So I leave it up to you on how you do that. Now, another thing for you to do, na sure akong hindi to makokopya ng classmate mo, ay yung picture mo. Diba? So you put your profile picture here. Now, when it comes to the picture, hindi kailangan sobrang formal na formal. Hindi kailangan pumunta sa studio. Huwag na kayo gumastos. Ang importante dito, tumingin kayo sa camera. Plain background. Okay? Plain background, tumingin kayo sa camera. Wear something, of course. Wear something decent. Okay? Do not upload profile pictures that look like the right side of your screen. Yung mga sample na yan, hindi po maganda yung sample yan. Okay? So, huwag kayong maglagay ng mga ganun kasi mga sample ng profile picture. Now, another good thing pa that will make you stand out using the resume link is your cover photo. Yes! A picture paints 1,000 words. Yan ang kasabihan na very, very applicable dito. A lot of you who are listening today, hindi kayo gifted with writing skills. Hirap kayo i-express ang inyong feelings at inyong thoughts into words. Hindi mo ma-type, hindi mo ma-sulat. Tama? Hirap tayo eh. Bakit? Hindi natural sa atin yan. Pero pagdating sa picture, kaya mo i-express yung inyong personality. Look at the examples I'm showing you. Look at the one on the left. Ano siya? Isa siyang ophthalmologist or optometrist. Sabi naman ng iba, eye expert. Di ba? Yung sa kanan, ano siya? Sabi ng iba, sir, parang IT. Sir, techie siguro kasi maraming gadget, pati stapler, gadget niya. Diba? Halimbawa, o sabi ng iba naman, sir, parang makalat. O depende na kung how you are going to interpret it. But now, the way I see it, itong taong to, multitasker. Okay? Another good example I'm showing you is this one. Someone from psychology, someone from neurologist, or maybe someone who knows left and right. Ganun lang kasimple. No? So depende yan how you're going to express yourself. Okay? Another good example pa, ito. Itong person na to, ang gusto niya sabihin, there's no shortcut to success. You will be able to reach your goal by taking one step at a time. O, di ba? So, I'm showing you good examples. Hindi yan member ng Akit Bahay Gang. Hindi rin po yan social climber, in case that's what you're thinking. So, kung nagpakita ko ng magaganda example, I will also show you yung mga hindi magandang example para wag niyong gagayahin. Huwag kayong magpapaka-misteryoso. Okay? Make sure you put your picture there. Okay? Kasi maraming pangalan ngayon interchangeable. Ako mismo, guilty ako dyan. My name is Kim. A lot of people think babae ako. Ako rin mismo, napagkakamala ko yung mga aplikante, pinakita ko, Chris, George, Alex, Sam. O, diba? Minsan isipin ko, Joey, lalaki. Yung pala, babae. Diba? So you better put your picture there para at least alam ng HR who to expect. Okay? Now, when you make your resume link, dapat may laman talaga yan. Kasi kung walang laman yan, ganyan itsura niyan, blanco. And how do you expect companies will look, or HR from companies will look at your profile if you submit to them resume links that look like this? It's like submitting a piece of a paper, bond paper, or long bond paper, short bond paper na walang laman except pangalan mo. And that's the same as this one. So hindi yan papansinin ng mga HR for sure. Okay? Sayang lang oras nyo tsaka oras ng HR. Kailangan attractive. Okay? When I say attractive or catchy, do not overdo it naman. Now, this is just in my opinion. In my opinion, I think this one is not a good example. Kasi ang dating niya parang tamad, parang happy-go-lucky, parang chill-chill lang, no? Parang ganoon na dating. So, I leave it up to you on how you'll be, expressing yourself na dito. Okay? So, sa mga personality nyo. Alam niyo na anong dapat nyo gawin at hindi yung dapat gawin. So, showing a very good example is si eye expert. Tignan mo, lahat ng detalye niya, kompleto. Everything from top to bottom, kompleto lahat ng details, including yung kanyang mga portfolio section na nagpapatunay na siya ay isang licensed ophthalmologist. Pinakita niya lahat ng mga posibleng hingiin pa sa kanya ng mga HR. So bakit ko sinabi sa inyo na papabilis yung buhay dito? Hindi lang buhay nyo. Pati buhay din ng HR na papabilis. Because once you submit all this information to that company, when the HR opens your resume link and sees everything about you, dalawa lang ang pwedeng mangyari niyan. One is, nahuli mo atensyon, gusto kanya ngayon kausapin or schedule for the next step, like interview or possibly job offer, or hindi ka nag-fit. Yun yung second. Di ba? Para at least, ang maganda rito, hindi na pabalik-balik, hindi na siya tatawag para sabihin, hello ma'am, meron ka bang evidence na graduate ka na talaga sa school na yan? Can you send me your transcript? Di ba? Can you send me yung mga evidence or yung mga sample skills or sample work mo kasi you are in IT or in graphic design? Di ba? Gets mo ibig ko sabihin, wag nang pabalik-balik, sayang yung oras. Okay? Time is of the essence, lalo na ngayon. So you put everything there, at least pag nakita ng HR, diretso na kagad sa pagpaprocess sa inyo. Okay? A lot of you are now thinking, Sir, pag gumawa ako ng resume link at nilagay ko lahat ng information ko dyan, baka naman yung mga data ko nakakalat na sa buong mundo. Baka naman yung mga information ko nakalantad na sa buong internet. The answer is, no. Kaya nga siya tinawag na the most secured resume. Okay? Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings. Follow the screen. Inside your dashboard, when you log in, you can go to your settings. Sa settings mo, to be specific, puntahan mo yung privacy settings. In your privacy settings, you choose the information that you want to show in public. Halimbawa lang you do not want to show your birthday. What do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita yung address mo. What do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita ang inyong references. What do? Turn it off. So lahat na naka-off, hindi lalabas sa public. At sino may control niyan? Kayo lang. O, di ba? Ang maganda pa rito, real-time update yan. Halimbawa, today, you decide not to show your birthday, your address, and references. And then 5 minutes later, you decide, sige, pakita ko na nga birthday ko. Turn it on. Real time. 5 minutes later, the moment you save your settings, lahat na binigay mo ng resume link, updated na rin sila, real time. As in real time. Di ba? Ayos, di ba? Sige, tuloy natin. Tuloy pa natin to. So, reminders ko na lang sa mga late na dumating or kakakinig lang, when you make your resume link, make sure that your profile is interesting and attractive. Okay? Wag OA. Iba yung over naman yun. No? Wag naman ganun. So, make sure it's attractive, it's catchy. Complete all the information, especially your contact details. Kasi sayang naman lahat ng ginawa mo, nahuli mo attention, hindi ka makontak ng HR. So, better make sure nandyan yung mga contact details na updated. Okay? So, yan. So, tapos na tayo sa 2 steps. Last step na lang. Ano yung first step? Recap lang. First step is register. Wala tong bayad. Libre po yan. Second step is for you to complete the information. Yan ang pinaka-logical. And the last step now is for you to submit. So you're now thinking, okay to paano ko gagamitin ngayon yung resume link? Bigyan kita ng iba-ibang paraan. Okay, lahat ito practical application para makarelate kayo. Unang option, pumunta ka sa website ng jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com, and that's where you now start to look for companies. Type the companies that you're looking for. Pag may lumabas, edi good. Pag walang lumabas, edi wala. Okay, huwag din pilitin. Okay? Now, you can also see there a lot of companies, a lot of company logos that you can shop around, you can choose, learn about the company, and if you want to be part of the company, I recommend you submit your resume link kahit na hindi ka pa qualified. Let me repeat what I've just said. If you want to be part of an organization, if you want to be part of that company, even if you are not yet qualified, I recommend you give your resume link to that company. Bakit? Imagine, kung ngayong hapon, ngayong araw, nagsubmit ka ng resume link sa isang kumpanya na naghahanap ng 3 years experience na aplikante. Wala ka pang 3 years experience. Okay lang. Because nabigay mo na yung resume link mo sa kanya, pagdating ng 2024, siguro naman by that time, meron ka ng 3 years experience, di ba? Kasi nag-work ka na ngayon, by 2021. By 2024, may 3 years experience ka na, pwede ka na ma-qualify dun sa position in-applyan mo. And you never know. That company might just contact you later on, provided that your details are still updated. So you have to update those information real time. Ayos ba? Ayos, di ba? Wala nang pabalik-balik. Hindi mo na kailangan magbalik-balik dun sa kumpanya para sabihin, nag-apply po ko sa inyo last year. Ako po yung OJT nyo 3 months ago. Wala nang ganun. Okay? Another practical application. When you submit your resumes through email, how do you do that? Madalas, ito ginagawa natin. Mag-email tayo, sasabihin natin, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position and this is my resume. Ano gagawin nyo? I-attach mo yung Word file mo or PDF file mo. Tama? If that is how you're doing it, wag mo nang gawin yon. Wag ka na mag-attach ng anything sa email. Pampabagal lang yan, tsaka makaluma na yung style na yan. Bakit ko sinabi yon? Kasi hindi mo na kailangan talaga mag-attach ng anything. Ang gagawin mo, i-type mo na lang doon sa email mo yung resume link mo. Example, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position. And this is my resume. In this example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz, 01.jobs180.com. That's it. Submit. I look forward to your information soon. Thank you. Send. Every time meron kang babaguhin sa details mo, hindi mo na kailangan padalhan yung HR. Kasi kung ginagamit mo mga attachment, ang kulit niyan Ang kulit, saka nakapagod. Ano gagawin mo pag nagbago ka ng phone number? Dear HR Manager, This is now my updated resume. Mamaya-maya, 2 weeks later, nagpalit ka ng phone number. Ano gagawin mo? Dear HR manager, this is now my updated, most recent resume. O di ba? Every time meron kang babaguhin, padala ka na padala doon sa HR. Nakakapagod yan, hindi lang sa part nyo, kundi sa part din namin sa mga HR to keep track which one yung pinaka-updated na details. So this time, wala na kailangan. Palit-palit na lang kayo ng details nyo, update-update na lang sa loob ng resume link. Ayos ba? Ayos pa. Okay, tuloy pa natin to. Okay? If you want to print your resume, this is now the good news. You can now print your resume link. No matter how much information you have, the system will try to compress everything into one page. So kung gusto mo talaga mag-print ng papel at mag-submit sa mga kumpanya, walang kaso. Pumunta ka lang sa dashboard mo, hanapin mo yung print na option at mamili ka kung 1 column or 2 column version ang gusto mo i-print. What the system will do is it will try to compress everything into one page para tipid na. O, di ba? Now, usapang tipid. Ito mas tipid pa. Gusto mo mag-print ng resume pero gusto mo magtipid. Itong gawin mo. Gumawa ka ng resume link card. Ano tong resume link card? Sa isang pirasong long bond or short bond paper, mag-design ka ng maraming resume link card. No, maliliit lang, parang business card ang dating. In one piece of paper, I think you can make 10, 20 sets of cards. Depende sa size ng papel mo. At ang importante na ilagay mo dyan sa resume link card mo ay syempre ang inyong resume link. Diba? So, hindi mo na kailangan ilagay lahat ng details mo sa resume sa loob ng maliit na papel. Lagay mo lang resume link mo. And that is what you now give to the companies when you start applying. Look at the picture I'm showing you. Di ba? Tipid. Hindi lang tipid. Secured pa. Tingnan nyo. If you submit yung big paper resume nyo, long bond paper, sinubmit mo sa isang kumpanya, nag-apply ka. For some reason, nilipad ng hangin. Yung nakapulot ng papel na yan, alam na buong detalye mo because everything is in that one-page printout. Now, if you lose that small piece of paper, don't worry. Meron kang peace of mind. Bakit? Yung mga kapulot niyan, limited sa privacy settings mo because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings kahit na i-type niya yan sa browser. Okay? So, ang recommend ko rin sa mga nakikinig, use the gadget. Take advantage of the technology. Use your gadget, your laptop, your cell phone, your tablet, kung ano man. Okay? Para ngayon kasi, this day and age, technology na ang gamitin natin. Kung mano-mano pa rin kayo, wala kayong gadget, okay lang. Huwag kayong malungkot. You can still submit to the companies by just simply writing the resume link on a piece of paper. As simple as that. Okay? So, again, sa mga nagtatanong, ano yung mga guidelines ko para makagawa ako ng job-winning resume? Ito yung guideline ko. Ito yung checklist ko. Are you using the right tool? That's the ultimate question. There are so many tools right now, but these are the things that you should consider when you make your resume. And that is the resume link. It already addresses the following. Number 1, security ng information mo. I hope by this time, you have peace of mind. Ito na ang pinaka-secured na information because you have the ultimate control over your privacy setting. Pangalawa, the speed of hire becomes faster. It becomes more efficient because whatever you need, whatever the HR needs, you can already put it inside the resume link. Another thing is that it's flexible. If you want to print, just in case lang gusto mo talaga mag-print ng resume nyo, you have the option to print it. And you don't have to worry about saan ko sinave yung file na yan, saan ko tinago, wala nang ganon. Just log into your account and print. Mamili ka lang kung 1 column or 2 column version. At higit sa lahat, wala po itong bayad. Tipid po ito. Walang bayad. Okay? Ang kailangan mo lang, of course, internet. Sa mga nag-iisip sa inyo, sir, kailangan ko ng pan-data, pwede ka naman makakonect sa internet na walang data eh. Punta ka sa libreng wifi. Diba? Baka yung kapitbahay nyo may libreng wifi, makagamit ka muna. Later on, pag may trabaho ka na, may sweldo na, bayaran mo yung wifi niya. Diba? Bawi-bawi lang yan. No? Give and take. And there are a lot more benefits to just what I've mentioned. Marami pang iba. You can share your resume link to whatever platform you want to share it to. Gusto mo i-text? Gusto mo siya i-private message? Gusto mo i-send via Viber? Kayo bahala. Pwede mo i-share. Basta kayo may control. Ganun lang kasimple. No? Kung hindi mo ito binigay sa kahit kanino, hindi malalaman to nung taong yon. And you don't have to save it to whatever USBs or hard drive. No need na. Wala rin tong mga tipong version na kailangan pang mag-compatible. Walang ganun. Lahat ito compatible. Pwede lahat. Okay? So, shout out na lang ako. Shout out to all our school partners. By the grace of God, right now, we have about 400 plus colleges and university partners nationwide, including your alma mater. So, thank you. We're very thankful for this opportunity that we're able to do this kahit tayo nasa loob ng bahay, kahit kayo ay nasa loob ng bahay. So, hindi tayo physically nagre-present, pero nakakatulong pa rin tayo, especially if you have friends or relatives whom you think would need this tool, please share this to them. Okay? Sa mga nagtatanong naman ng mga frequently asked questions, sasagutin ko na. Ito kasi yung mga common questions na kadalasan tinatanong sa akin. Ang tanong, can I give my resume link to companies who do not know about jobs180.com? The answer is absolutely yes. It depends kung sino ang bibigyan mo. Ikaw may ultimate control niyan. Okay? Pangalawang question, is this the same as other job platform like LinkedIn, JobStreet, iba pang mga job site? The answer is no. Meron tong dalawang major difference. Yes. Lalo na pagdating sa security. Okay. First, explain lang ako Okay. With respect to the other sites that I've mentioned, let me just use JobStreet as an example para lang mas makarelate, no? Para makarelate. You can only use JobStreet resume if you're applying to companies who are also using JobStreet. If you're applying to a company who is not using JobStreet, you cannot use your JobStreet resume anymore. With your resume link, you can use this to any type of company, any platform, wherever they are. Kahit sa loob ng Pilipinas or sa labas ng Pilipinas, pwede mong applyan. Kahit hindi niya alam ang Jobs 180, basta alam niya ang resume link mo, pwede niya mabuksan ang profile at makita according to your settings. That's the first difference. Pangalawang difference, kung nabigay mo na, kung na-submit mo na ang JobStreet resume mo sa isang company, wala ka nang pwedeng baguhin. Lahat ng data mo nandun na yan sa HR. Yes. Hindi na magbabago yan real time. With your resume link, na-submit mo today, mali pala number mo, na-submit mo today, mali pala yung spelling mo, you can always edit it. Enter, save it. Real-time update. Lahat ng bigyan mo ng resume link, updated real-time. Ayos? Okay, tuloy tayo sa number 3 question. Number 3 question is the easiest question. Ang tanong dito is, can I keep my information secured? I hope by this time, na-convince ko na kayo na ito na ang pinaka-secured na platform. Okay? That's the reason why I'm sharing this to you. Okay? Number 4, I think this is the most important question. How often should you update your resume link? Ang sagot dito, hindi araw-araw, hindi linggo-linggo, hindi buwan-buwan, hindi taon-taon. Ang sagot dito ay every time. Every time na meron kayong babaguhin, lalo na ang contact details nyo. Yan ang importante. You have to update your contact details every time na meron kayong papalitan doon. Kasi yan yung paraan para makontak kayo ng mga companies. And the last question is just a trivia. Why is this called jobs180.com? This is called jobs180.com because we want to turn your life around. Yan, di ba? 180 degrees. Hindi siya 360. Kasi kung 360, bumalik ka lang kung saan ka galing. Hindi balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang. Hindi wala nangyari. Di ba? So you have to do it 180 degrees. It's a straight line towards your career goal. Okay? Just in case may tanong pa kayo, nahiya magtanong, pumunta lang kayo sa website namin, sa jobs180.com, or email us, email me, here sa info@jobs180.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, para makakuha kayo ng mga latest trends in recruitment. Okay? Again, my name is Kim Chu Wa. Don't forget yung Wa. Okay? Baka Kim Chu lang maalala nyo. Na nagsasabing, be safe at isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you for that, Sir Kim. So to our audience, we are now opening the floor for questions. So if you have any concern that you want to ask Sir Kim, lagay nyo lang dyan, no? Alright, so mag-uumpisa ako, sir. So first question po, is it how true that employers look at their schools? Look at the candidate's educational background? Totoo
Um,
po ba yun?
Well, of course, they will be able to see that once they check on the resume link. They'll see naman kung saan school sila manggagaling. Pero kung yung tanong is, does it really matter kung saan nanggaling yung aplikante na school? Ayan. Ako, I'm speaking as an HR, as an employer. That really doesn't matter much. Ang mas importante is yung skill sets. Yan yung mas importante. When they look at your profile, the first thing that they will be looking at least I would speak as majority of the HR, is that they'll be looking at straight dun sa skill sets mo. If you have the skills that fit their requirement, that's what's more important. Yun. Okay. But of course, the school it will have a reflection on the school. Kasi pag nakita nila yung resume link mo, tapos kulang-kulang detalye, o kaya may bungi-bungi yung information, syempre ganun yun, di ba? Bit-bit mo yung school mo eh. So makikita nila, ay, nanggaling ito sa ganitong school. Bakit kulang-kulang detalye niyan? Kaya nga like ko pinapaalala, kompletuhin nyo ang information nyo when you're going to apply to those respective companies. Okay?
Alright, thank you, sir. So, next question naman po. When it comes to the skill set, sir, di ba, you mentioned earlier, mas important yung skill set. So, if they're a fresh graduate, kung fresh graduate sila, anong-anong mga skills yung pwede nilang ilagay dun sa profile nila na hindi naman kailangan ng masyadong training. Kasi fresh
Mm,
grad eh, so wala pa siya masyadong experience. So,
right.
what are examples of generic or
Oh, generic
broad?
na medyo specific, gano'n, 'di
Yeah.
ba?
Oh,
Parang
yeah,
parang
yeah.
nagpapasimple ka pero binubuhat mo yung bangko mo. 'Yan yung mga fresh grad, eh, minsan walang maisip, walang mailagay. You try to look into, yung mga extracurricular activities ninyo. Did you organize events? Example, 'no, did you have the chance to lead a team? 'Di ba hindi naman kailangan lahat OJT, eh. Eh, kung wala naman kayo OJT experience, wala tayong pagbabasihan, 'di ba? Kung walang internship, walang OJT, walang actual work experience. So, you can, refer to your school activities. Maybe at some point you were tasked to do something. You were tasked to lead, a group, to do, example, research, or for something else that you came up with an idea, or you initiated, yung program na yon. Baka ikaw yung nagpakulo nung ano, nung event na yon, depende, no, all these things, and then you can now highlight those, skill sets. Yan yung sa akin, that's where we look at. And then don't worry, when you write something, don't fabricate anything. The HR will be interviewing you. They will try to, ask you questions related to those skills, and dun naman magkakaalaman, eh, 'di ba, kung talagang meron o wala. Kasi pagka talagang meron, makikita nila yan during the interview na hindi kayo nambobola, hindi kayo umiimbento. Pero pagka iniimbento nyo lang yan lahat din, kinokopya mo lang sa classmate mo kung ano yung nakita mong skills niya, kinopya mo rin, di ba? Hoping na meron ka rin ng skills yun just by copying it. Magkakabukingan yan pagdating sa interview. Okay? Yan. But I'm sure, marami kayong skills that yung mga classmates nyo, naiiba sa inyo. Okay? Yung lamang kayo sa iba mga classmates nyo. Yan. You put it there.
Ayan. So, thank you for that, Sir Kim. So, again, to our audience, huwag kayo mahiya maglagay ng questions dyan. So, i-address natin yan sa mga speakers natin after nung talk nila. Ayan. So, Sir Kim, thank you, thank you, thank you. I guess we have no questions from our audience, so we can move on to the next topic. Mahaba pa kasi yung
Oo nga,
ano ko,
tama.
sir, schedule ko ngayon
Sige
eh.
po. Okay. Thank you rin. Thank you. Just check
Okay,
out mo
thank
lang the
you.
link. Check out your
Yes.
school link that's, being scrolled here sa the live screen. Okay? See you
Thank you,
later.
Sir Kim. Have a
Okay.
great day.
Bye-bye.
Yan. So, to our audience, we have four topics to discuss this afternoon. So, we have three to go. So, let's move on. Let's go to our second speaker. Our next speaker is Miss Lyra Danica Dosado, talent acquisition specialist for FactSet. She will be discussing virtual interviews. She is an experienced talent acquisition specialist with a demonstrated history of working in the financial technology and retail industry and staff augmentation, strong human resources professional, skilled in technical recruitment, vendor and account management, compensation, and benefits. So, Miss Lyra, if you are ready, can you please join our stream? Hi, ma'am. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
hello.
Hi,
Good
hi, hi.
afternoon.
Can we test sharing your screen po?
Yeah.
Ayan. So, ma'am, this afternoon we are joined by two schools in Bulacan. So,
Mm-hmm.
one is ICI College and the other one is LCUP. So,
Okay.
we have varying courses po joining us this afternoon. So, ma'am, your screen is up. So, I'll leave you the floor. I'll be back in 20 minutes for the question and answer. Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Vera.
Great. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. First, we'd like to thank Jobs 180 in giving us the opportunity to share this presentation to the job seekers who are currently attending this session. So, as for the job seekers, we are looking forward that you will learn something from us. So, in this virtual presentation, the tips on what to wear and how to answer the common interview questions will give you an understanding on or a guide on how you will prepare for your virtual interviews. So I will start now. So I'll proceed to my next slide, which is a quick introduction about me and about FactSet. So I'm Lyra, from Talent Acquisition Team of FactSet Philippines. So most of the openings that has been assigned to me is those with financial and technology requirements, or mostly IT requirements. So let me give you a quick overview on what FactSet is. So FactSet is actually um, a leading provider of integrated online financial and economic information to the global financial community. So, FactSet offers mission critical to investment research, workflow solutions to analysts, portfolio managers, investment bankers, and other financial professionals. So, this is my quick introduction about me and about my company. So, I will now proceed into my next slide, which is our agenda for today. So, first to that is we will be discussing what to wear during our virtual interview. And then the second one will be I'll be providing quick tips on how to answer the common interview questions. So, I will start now with my first topic, which is the what to wear during your virtual interviews. So, so the global pandemic not only changed the landscape of how people work, but also how to interview for jobs. So today, interviewing virtually is now a common practice, but like everything else, people have to figure out how to transform the way they do things. Because before, what we're doing is a face-to-face, but now we turn into a virtual setup. So the important way to convey this virtual cues is how to dress for your interview virtually. So the way you dressed for a virtual interview tells the interviewer about your brand, how you perceive yourself, and how you project yourself. So here are the do's of dressing during your virtual interview. I will now proceed to the first one, which is first, it's very important that you have to research about the company's dress code. So just because the interview is virtual and you're not in the office, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't know the company dress code. So having an idea of the corporate dress code ahead of time allows you to choose an outfit that conveys who you are and your ability to fit into their cultures. So let me share with you the common or the three types of dress code that is commonly used in the Philippines. So the type of dress codes are first is the business professional. So when you say dress in business professional attire, you are wearing generally conservative clothing to portray yourself in a professional manner. So women can wear a skirt or pantsuit with heels, while men can wear or may wear a blazer or suit jacket, button down shirt, and suit pants, a tie, and a dress shoes. So that is our first dress code. And then I'll proceed now to the second one, which is the business casual attire. So, business casual is typically defined as no jeans, no shorts, no short dresses for women or short skirts for women, and optional ties for men, and a rotation or a button downs or blouses for women. So, in fact, we follow the Monday to Thursday business casual attire when we are reporting to the office, but it varies based on the company policies. And then next to the dress code would be the most common, which is the casual. So a casual dress code means that employers are permitted to dress in a comfortable, informal clothing. So for men, a casual button-down shirt is always a great choice, and ties are not worn in a casual workplace. So women have a vast number of top options, though it is important to avoid shirts that are low cut or too revealing. So in fact, that we are wearing actually a casual attire every Friday, or they call it the dress down. So again, it may vary on the company policy. It changes, depends on them. And then also, I would like to give you a quick notes. If ever you will be attending a virtual interview, you may ask the interviewer the recruiter or HR that has been assigned to you on what to wear, what is their dress code that you can wear during your virtual interview. So there. So I will now proceed to the next second, which is Sorry. So you have to dress from head to toe. So on a virtual interview, it's easy to only dress professionally from waist to up, since interviewers doesn't only see what you're wearing down below. So they can only see what's on your screen. So but keep in mind that what you wear helps you to communicate non-tangible things like executive presence, connection, and authenticity. So study shows that what you wear influences your mood, productivity, confidence, posture, abstract thinking, and a host of other positive attributes. So, wearing a complete head to toe interview outfit, including your shoes, helps you to put in the interview mindset. So, this enables you to stay focused while doing the interview session and articulate your thoughts in a professional manner. So we are encouraging everyone to practice this manner because it will also help you during your virtual interview session. Okay, next to my third one would be wear colors that suit you. So wear colors that best suit your skin tone and look good on camera. So avoid very bright colors during your interview session. Sticking with a nude or jewel tones may be the safest bet. So but also don't shy away from subtle print if it speaks to your personal style and works back to the company dress code. So also, if you are wearing a glasses, be sure to adjust the lighting to avoid the glare. So prior to the interview, you have to do an on-camera test run of you wearing the outfit with appropriate lighting and background. Make sure that the background does not clash with your outfit and there are no camera color or print distractions. So most of the time when we are having an interview session with our applicants, I tend to wear a nude colors or white, something like that. So it depends on you. If you look good, you have to check your camera before your interview session. So, okay. And then the fourth one would be you have to wear a signature item. So, a signature item is something that you are known to wear. So, something that gets you noticed, gives you confidence, and puts you in a can do mental space. So, it could be an accessories for us girls or women. We can wear a scarf for women and then pocket square for men. It could be a particular color, a style, or that power suit you're known to wear. So, signature item is not necessarily mean that you have to wear as inexpensive clothes, but something that will portray who you are. So there you go. Next one would be you have to be mindful of wearing accessories. So our accessories are a great way to showcase your personal style and brand. However, when interviewing virtually, accessories are best if you are using a lapel or mic earbuds. Make sure that the mic is not hitting or being covered by the accessory. Sometimes kasi we have like earrings who are so long, so it might cover or we might not be comfortable when we are wearing that earring. So you have to keep look polished and brand right. For me, my thoughts are for this one would be the simple the better. So okay, so that would be my last last part of my first topic. Before I end the first topic, I'd also like to make note that this step not only hold true for in the interviewer, but for the interviewer as well. So the interview is also a time for the candidate to get additional information about our company, its culture, the job, and the workforce. So as an interviewer, you're also representative of the company. It's very critical for the interviewer to also take into account of the do's of virtual interview. So that is my last. I will now proceed to my next topic, which is the tips on how to answer the common interview questions. So I'll be sharing some few or how to answer questions and make a good impressions during your interviews. So, first to that would be you have to speak clearly to show you are interested and enthusiastic during your phone or virtual interview session. You have to speak very clearly, especially during your virtual interview. It makes sure that you're doing an interview by speaking clearly, it shows your interest with the job, and it will also give you a great impact to your interviewer. So most likely, if we are doing the phone interview or a virtual interview, we tend to check if we you have to check if the interviewer is will hear you properly, because most of the time we have a problem in internet connection, so sometimes the line is actually breaking, so you have to ask your interviewers if they can hear you properly. Okay, and then next to that is take time to think about the questions before answering so you can give a good response. So I know most of the time we get too nervous, especially for the fresh graduates during their interview or virtual interview session, and then you can think properly on how to answer their questions. So I suggest you practice and be prepared before your interview session. Review the job qualifications. They might be asking you questions related to that or coming from that, and also you have to think about the possible questions related to your what is indicated in your resume. So like for example, if you're a fresh graduate, so most of the interviewers will ask you questions about your the projects that you have handled or questions related to your internship experience. So those are the things that you need to remember before answering questions. And the next is you have to listen carefully. So listen to the question carefully and let the interviewer lead the conversation. If you don't understand the questions, ask for it to explain or be repeated. Please don't hesitate to ask and be honest to the interviewer if you need to repeat the questions for you to understand it well. In the virtual interview, sometimes we tend to have a poor internet connection talaga. So as interviewer, we do understand naman. So we are willing to repeat any questions that we are asking to you so you can answer it properly. And then next is this one is very important. So, if you have a job before, don't criticize your previous employers or coworkers. By asking these questions, us interviewer might be also testing you to see how you would handle sensitive inquiries from customers or colleagues or other people around you. So, criticism is often perceived as their unwillingness to accept accountability for their own actions. Okay. And then to the next one would be you have to show your confidence. So confidence, show your confidence in your skills and be positive about what you have done from your previous projects or from your internship. So, for example, instead of using phrases such as I only have or I don't have, tell the employers what you have done to offer. So, how can I have confidence in my own skills? So, well, it's about valuing yourself. Sorry, self confidence means trusting in your own judgment. So, it's about valuing yourself and feeling worthy, regardless of any imperfections or others may believe about you. So it is very important that you show your confidence during your interview, but not too much confidence during your virtual interview setup or session. And then last is you have to give examples. So you have to give examples from your experience that demonstrate your knowledge and your skills. How can you demonstrate your skills? Set the scene by briefly outlining the context of your example. Define what the task, the problem, or goal was. So you have to explain the specific details on what you did, and then how you did it and why you did it. It's a way to demonstrate the skills they have highlighted, outline the outcome to show your success in using that skill. So let me give you a briefly discussion about the STAR method, which is related to the last part. The STAR method is actually a manner of responding to behavioral based interview question, because most of the time interviewers may tend to ask a behavioral based interview. So STAR method is stands for S as the situation, T for the task, A for the action, and R for the result. So for the situation, you have to disclose details of the specific event that you are that you have an experience with. And then for the task, explain your responsibility in that situation. For example, if you have a group project, what are the tasks that has been assigned to you? And then for the action, describe how you accomplished that specific task. And lastly, you have the results. So you have to outline the impact of your action. So there. So, well, that ends my presentation for today, and I hope you learned something from us about this topic. And you will use this guide to have a successful job interviews in the coming days. And you may also view our job openings in jobs180.com/factset career. So stay safe, everyone, and happy Monday.
Thank you for that wonderful talk, Miss Lyra. So to
Thank
our
you.
audience, we are now open for questions. Ma'am, if you have time, we'd like to accommodate all of the questions coming
Ah,
from our
sige lang po.
audience po.
Go ahead po.
To our audience, pwede na kayong maglagay ng questions niya. So mauuna na ako, mama. Number
Sige
one,
lang po.
ma'am, what are your pet peeves when you're doing the interviews? Like, is it okay if the applicant came in overdressed? Do you hate it when the lighting is bad? Ano yung mga ganong issues, ma'am, na hinaharap ng mga candidates natin right now?
Usually talaga most commonly what we are experiencing is the internet connection. So it's very important for us kasi to understand it doesn't yes we it's good na you are wearing something that is proper during the interview. More like the same with the personal, I mean face to face interview. So we are that's one of our preferences. And then second one is yung internet connection nga. So it's very important for the interviewee na to check their internet connection before sila magjo-join ng interview with our hiring managers.
Follow
So
up ako
yun lang naman. Sige, go lang po.
Follow up po ako dun, ma'am, with regards po the internet connection because sure naman, ma'am, 'di ba? If for example, when we're doing the interview and yung
Mm-hmm.
internet connection ko as an applicant is spotty, hindi po ba parang signal na po yun na ay baka hindi siya makapag-commit or hindi niya magawa na maayos yung work niya kasi hindi maganda yung connection niya. Meron po ba kayong parameters sa
Mm.
bandwidth or parang Mbps na ano po?
Sa FactSet, wala naman as long as you have a good internet connection lang that will can open websites or yung Teams namin. And then also, if ever na nagkakaroon ng problem based on my experience, I suggest na lang na parang you guys can go to mga tawag dito, kamag-anak nyo or relatives nyo that have a good internet connection. So we are allowing naman that one if ever.
Ayun, good ano naman yun, good alternative
Mm-mm.
naman yun. Optional
Flexible
rin po ba
naman.
ang
Mm-mm.
ang on-site for FactSet right now?
For FactSet right now,
Wala
no
pa po.
pa. Parang 10% lang who's currently working via skeletal workforce kasi medyo mahirap pa since it's still pandemic. But we have three phases in FactSet. So we're on the first phase pa lang, which is yun nga, 10% skeletal workforce. And then, ano naman siya, free shuttle services. So wala namang magiging problem for those employees.
Thank you for that, ma'am. So
But
next
in the
question,
future, they have to take note that we will be
possible,
working.
opo.
Yes.
Possible na babalik talaga.
Yes,
Ma'am, next
correct.
question. May we ask for the vacancies po? Anong mga positions po for fresh grads yung pwede
Ah,
nilang applyan? And qualified po ba sila for those entry-level positions?
of course, yes,
Varying
they are.
courses to, ma'am.
Oo, I have a lot of new hires coming from Batangas right now or other cities outside Metro Manila. So for us, our current since we are a financial and technology company, our common openings that we have is related to financial and also for IT. For IT, we have software engineers or technical support or associate client support engineers. So those are the first level openings that we have. For financial naman, I think we have this research analyst. Most of that's our bulk opening for the fresh graduates. Someone who has background on business or financial or any or economics, I think.
Ayan. So, okay, okay. Thank you po, Miss Lyra. No? Thank you for lending us
Thank
your
you
time.
rin po.
Ma'am, we hope that you can join us po in other sessions po po. Kung
Of
may
course
time
naman
po,
po.
ma'am, we'd love to have you back po.
Yes
Ayan.
po, no
So,
problem po.
to our audience, sigurado na ba kayo na wala kayong question? So, if you have no more questions, you can explore vacancies. It's available at jobsrank.com/facts@careers. So, right now, explore na kayo. Tingin-tingin na kayo para pag graduate nyo, alam nyo na kung saan kayo mag-apply. So, thank you, Miss Lyra. Have a great
Thank you so
afternoon
much po.
po.
Happy Monday,
Happy Monday, ma'am.
everyone. And stay safe.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe, ma'am. Ayan. Thank you po, Ms. Lyra. So, tuloy-tuloy tayo, guys, no? Third topic of the day, we have Sir Denis Petran of EY Philippines. He is the Talent Development Assistant Director. He will be discussing motivation, productivity, and stress management. So, Sir Dennis brings with him over 18 years of experience in supporting learning and development needs of organizations across levels. Prior to joining EY, he worked with GP Strategies as a leadership and management training manager for East Asia. He has also worked with HSBC Global Service Centers, partnering with various senior leaders in 7 countries to drive leadership development. Sir Dennis has a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology from Ateneo de Manila University. He is also a certified facilitator for Situational Leadership 2 program from the Ken Blanchard companies as well as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator program from CPP. He is also a certified instructor for Tracom Social Style and Versatility. So in his spare time, Sir Dennis enjoys playing tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and board games with friends and spending time with his 2 kids. Sir Dennis, we are happy to have you back.
All right.
Hi, sir.
Thank
Good
you so much,
afternoon.
Harry. Yep. Good morning. Good afternoon, and happy Monday as well.
Happy Monday, sir. Sir, can we test sharing your screen?
Yes, there we
Yan. Yan.
go.
Sir, it's up. So I leave you to it, sir. I'll be back for Q&A. You have 20 minutes. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherry. So, very, very warm welcome to again, the students from LCUP, ICI, CAT, and also for our faculty who also made this, joint partnership available. So, like, what Sherry mentioned, there's 3 things that I'll be talking about today: stress, motivation, and productivity. And oftentimes, people are very much aware of the connection between the 3 of them. But I think what's very important is to take a closer look and more importantly to give all of you very good tips on how you can manage that level of stress because one thing that I'll speak about, and this is coming from not just my experience from the learning and development space but really being an avid fan of psychology. That was part of my undergraduate degree, but I think I've been very fortunate enough in my professional career that I've not only learned more about how psychology impacts us, how we're able to better relate to people, and better able to improve ourselves from a corporate perspective. But I've also had the opportunity, back in high school and college, to be involved with peer counseling groups, and after college, I also had an opportunity to work within the guidance office of Ateneo de Manila University. So having that more in-depth background in terms of psychology, counseling, and the impact on us as individuals has really helped me, be able to maintain a healthy level of mental wellness all throughout this pandemic, right? But to start off with, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about EY Global Delivery Services. So we're part of the EY global firm, and specifically, we're servicing and we're helping assist all of our EY partner firms across the globe. So, in particular, here in the Philippines, some of our accountancy graduates might be very familiar with our EY local practice office partner, which is SGV and Company, which is one of the largest companies or professional services firms here in the Philippines alone. Now, for EY GDS, we've recently celebrated a milestone. When I first joined, EY GDS back in 2016, we were just around 250 people, but now we've grown to over 4,000 individuals. And we do hope that, as we progress and as we continue to grow, those of you, not just from the accounting, not just from the cybersecurity practices or disciplines, also take that opportunity to explore what employment options are available for you. Because as you can see, when we talk about global delivery services, it doesn't just cover EY's usual covered services in assurance, which is accounting, audit, not just in consulting, whether it be for technical platforms like Oracle, SAP, and the similar technology platforms that EY is partnered with, and also with tax and client technology. But also we do employ professionals in various fields, ranging from our executive assistants under our MBA team, our uh, business creatives under MBA, BMC, or brand marketing and communications. We also employ individuals who are familiar with HR services in our talent services team, right? And so we hope that you do take that opportunity to explore. And I'll talk more about what are some of the benefits and actually the things that we've explored and we continue to enjoy here in EYGDS Philippines that's allowed us to grow, from 250 some individuals to now over 4,000 and continuously growing. And more importantly, how we're able to really, in this time of the pandemic, right? Because it is indeed still continuing, right? Uh, how we're able to maintain that, proper level of stress, productivity, and of course, keeping up our motivation. And to start off my talk, I think I'd like to talk a little bit more about that connection between mental physical wellness. The whole point of us being physically and mentally well is really to help develop resiliency. And when you say resiliency, right, the local term for it or the Filipino word for it is makunat, but not makunat in the sense that we're talking about, being makunat in terms of expenses, but rather uh, being makunat in the face of adversity, in the face of challenges, difficulties, and of course all of us have experienced that all throughout this ongoing 2 years or more, that we continue to again look for ways on how to thrive, how to grow, how to be successful in this pandemic period. Now, when we talk about resiliency, and I think those are the 3 points that I'll be focusing on. These 3 tips that I'll be sharing, and a lot of your other speakers talked about how you can build motivation, how you can build that confidence when you're doing your virtual interviews. But when we talk about being able to manage that, stress, being able to keep yourself motivated and productive, whether you've already graduated and maybe looking to apply to some of these companies that you've heard from, right? Uh, or whether you're still about to graduate and you're still, having to go through those courses, but at the same time, help prepare yourself for whatever comes next for you, right? Wherever you are in that journey, I think what's very important to understand is what is stress all about, right? When we talk about stress management, when we talk about, what's its impact on motivation, on being productive, I think the keyword, and this was something that I took up from uh, my certification for TRACOM social science. Stress is very much like tension, right? So tension is anything that makes us act, right? So, for example, maybe you wake up, you need to go to the bathroom. You know that causes a certain amount of stress, right? Because okay, maybe in your household you only have like one bathroom, so of course you have to gamble. Is there somebody in the bathroom ahead of you, right? That's it. That gives you a certain level of stress that forces you or makes you take an action, right? Maybe it could be as if something as, let's say, for example, you have a scheduled interview this afternoon, but then you forgot about it, and then all of a sudden your phone dings, and it's just like 5 minutes, 5 minutes alarm, but you've not taken a bath, you've not uh, taken the time to make yourself presentable because you had forgotten about the interview. So again, that presents a certain level of stress. Now, the important piece, and when we talk about stress and how it builds resiliency, is getting the right amount of stress. And what do I mean by that? When you talk about stress, right, you can have a high level of stress that requires you to put in a high level of action, right? Like, the example I just gave you, 5 minutes before your interview. So you're madly rushing, di ba? Hilamos, ligo, di ba? Or actually, baka hilamos na lang, basa, tapos, you go directly into like picking your wardrobe, right? Maybe not even the full get up from head to toe, maybe just from the bottom, from the top half up, right? Whatever the case may be, high level of stress when it's sustained over a long period of time, again, it's negative, right? That's when you can potentially experience burnout, right? So, for example, if you're at work, if you're studying, if you always tend to, stay up late and then you have an early class tomorrow, or you stay up late for doing overtime for work, and then, you still have an early shift again tomorrow. Over a course of time, your productivity will definitely go down, right? Now, let's take the opposite of that, low level of stress. Low level stress, again, that means you're able to handle everything. There's not much impetus or drive to for you to take action. So over time, that can potentially make you a little bit softer, right? So you're not able to be as resilient when difficulties come in, when challenges come in, right? And so you talk about having that balance. So the right balance is having that high enough level of stress to keep you alert, keep you focused, but at the same time, be able to, when it goes up too much, how do you now de stress? And I think these are the top three tips that I can share with everyone. Now, take note that these three tips are coming from variety of sources, and I'll be citing and sharing with you. So please do take note of them, and I do encourage all of you to go ahead and read up. If you're more into video watching, right, which is more of the norm for our millennials and Gen Z nowadays, you can look it up in YouTube. There are a lot of very instructional videos about these topics. So what's the first one? It's all about Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey is one of our or one of my favorite authors of all time, simply because a lot of the things he talks about is really based on basic principles, meaning these are situations, these are relationships between people, events that everyone experiences, whether you're here in the Philippines or in another country. These are close to as universal, right? And one of the things in particular that I've continued to use, personally and also professionally, is his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. So we'll talk more about that, and specifically to help you manage that level of stress. And in this case, for me personally, what has been very helpful is really the first three habits. Now, what's the second tip I have? Practice mindfulness. So again, with this pandemic period, a lot of us have, taken up hobbies. Some of you may have become fur parents, right? Taking care of a cat, a dog, or any similar creature, right? Or similar pet, right? Some of you may have taken up gardening, right? Now, what's in common with all of these things that a lot of people have become very passionate about and have picked up all throughout this pandemic period? It allows them an opportunity to practice mindfulness. So mindfulness is as simple as being conscious about the here and now, being able to focus your entire mind, your energy to whatever you're doing on hand. And we'll talk more about what impact does that now have on us as individuals when we talk about motivation, when we talk about productivity, and how is it able to manage that level of stress to a good productive level. Because like what I mentioned earlier, it's also not good if there's no stress at all, because there's not going to be any push for you to do any sort of action, whether it's exercise, whether it's learning something new, right? Now, what's the third tip? The third tip I have is talking about developing your emotional intelligence. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, some of you are very familiar with IQ, right? So intelligence quotient, how smart you are, right? How are you able to look at abstract things, look at facts, look at figures, and be able to recall them? That's your intelligence quotient. When we talk about emotional intelligence, and this is more commonly known as EQ, and you may have seen a lot of advertisements, a lot of videos, a lot of products that talk about emotional intelligence. It's all about how you're able to first off understand yourself, right? Understand your moods, understand what are your triggers, and then by extension, how are you now able to recognize that in others? How are you better able to understand what others are going through? How are you able to empathize? And by and as a result of that, how does that dynamic by talking to people, getting to understand them, letting them understand you as well, how are you now able to build strong relationships? And I think when you talk about being productive, whether it's from an academic standpoint, whether you're still studying or whether you're already working or beginning to work, emotional intelligence is by far a more what do you call this, a more accurate depictor of people's success rather than intelligence quotient. Right. So again, intelligence quotient will help you, but only to a certain point. So it's really the relationship that you build, the people that you get to know, the network that you build for yourself. That is going to be a very good indicator of your success when you start working or even when you're still studying, right? So those are the three tips that I have. Right. Now, let's go on to the first one, which is, seven habits. Most of the time, a lot of people, and in my case, I've been practicing the seven habits and being mindful about and being conscious and deliberate about it has helped me, through the many years I've been working and living as well. But more importantly, when I usually, get blindsided. It's often because I've not prepared for things, and that in itself, like the example I shared earlier, you have an interview, and then you forgot about it. You only set the alarm maybe 5 minutes before the interview, so all of a sudden, there's a high level of stress that you're subjected to, and it can potentially impact you on that interview, or it can impact your day if you felt that you weren't able to give your best, right? So it's like a domino effect. So what is the best thing to counter that is really by developing habits, because again, habit as a term, a habit is something that we're doing unconsciously. We've done it so many times, diba? That you don't think twice about it. You're not too conscious about it. And so that's why when we talk about the seven habits, the three at the very beginning, I think that is what's going to be very important. So what are the first habits or the three habits? So there's seven of them, right? But in this case, when we're talking about keeping yourself motivated, being conscious, right, being able to be productive, I think the first three are really the most important ones to follow, right? And for those of you that have already read the book, you know that all of the habits are developed in turn, right? These are hopefully you get them one in term, from habit one to habit two leads you to habit three, four, five, six, and of course habit seven is sharpening the saw, which is again making sure that you're continuously taking time to reflect, taking time to check, is there anything else that I need to improve on myself? Is there any new habit that I need to start developing? So first off is being proactive, right? Uh, and when we say being proactive, it talks about getting in that mindset that if I don't do anything, then I'm going to be subject to anything, right? There's that saying, if you don't stand for something, then you'll fall for anything. So it's very similar to that. So being conscious about how your action, how you're wanting to act, and making sure that you follow through with that act is very important. What's the second one? Begin with the end in mind. So I think what's important here is that are you somebody who plans your day, your week, your months out? And again, some of you might be saying, "Ay, hindi ako yun eh. I'm sort of like a person na happy-go-lucky." And again, I've known a lot of people, and in my case, I tend to be very organized. But because again, like for example, my wife, she's more of that, happy-go-lucky in certain aspects of our lives. So I've learned, for the sake of harmony and more importantly, better understanding her and having a better relationship in the family, to be able to adopt that kind of attitude. So again, when we talk about beginning with the end of mind, how clear are you about your purpose? Right? Because if you are not clear about your purpose, then it impacts everything. Urgent things, everything that's time bound, all of a sudden becomes urgent, and you're not really thinking, is this really important to me? And so what ends up happening, especially from a workplace perspective, and I've seen it a lot with our new hires, not just with EY, but even in other companies, is that they focus on everything. They try to do everything all at once without really identifying what is important here, what's the end goal. And that's what we talk about when we talk about beginning with the end in mind. And of course, putting first things first. And again, it talks more again to that sense of purpose. Are you clear about what is important? And some of you might not be able to answer that right now, and it's fine. But what's important is that, are you continuously asking yourself that? When you're applying, what is it that I want to get out of this experience? Aside from a job, is there anything else that I can take from this interview experience? Right? By asking all of those things, that can help you develop that sense of purpose already. So in my case, I've been very clear about it. Um, my purpose is really to help people, connect to the solutions, or connect them to the solutions that they need for the most challenging situations, whether it be like personal problems that I can help out with, some peer counseling tips or peer counseling conversation, and tools that I've learned all throughout my career, right? Or it could be as simple as, let's say, for example, coaching, providing them feedback, right? Now, when we talk about prioritization, and I think this is one of the tips that I loved about Stephen Covey, is the Big Rocks principle. So, what is the Big Rocks principle? And you can actually look it up in YouTube. Just type in Big Rocks video, and it should show you a very powerful video. So basically, what it is that you're given this container, right? This container represents the amount of time that you have. Now, if you had sand in it, right? And these are all of the small things, let's say, if you're at home, you need to feed the dog, you need to water the plants, you need to clean your room, right? These are all of our time fillers. Big rocks are the important parts, right? Like learning more, maybe taking up a training module that's for free, applying for a job, right? Or if you're looking at personal relationships, right? Maybe calling that person up, messaging them, right? Or if you're connecting with that someone they're interested in through online platforms like games, right? So making sure, oh, come on, let's go ahead and have a game, or can we do multi or co-op mode, right? uh, those are your big rocks. Now, in the video, when you try to put the big rocks after the sand, after all of those small things that fill up our day, it becomes very difficult to fit everything. And what the principle is all about is really put in those big rocks first. Meaning, when you're planning out your day, your week, your month, right? You don't have to schedule every single minute. You don't have to schedule every single hour, but rather identify. Right? And this is how I do it personally, right? I look at my week. I look at the big important parts, like the external talks with Jobs 180. I take a look at some high level touch base meetings that I have with my stakeholders. So those I ensure are on my calendar. And so when I have like people message me, hey Dennis, do you have like a minute? Or hey, can we go ahead and talk? Or Dennis, I have a question for you. I'm now able to take a look at my entire week and say, oh, Monday medyo full ako eh. Or Tuesday I have like, half day trading. If you want, we can talk in the morning. And I think that helps manage stress a lot. If you already know what you're watching out for, what you're looking after or taking care of throughout your week, throughout your month, then that can help bring down the stress a little bit, because you're making sure that you put the first things first. Right? So that's the three habits. And what these three habits are supposed to help you out with is really build those habits of being able to take a step back. Oftentimes, it's very easy for us to, ay, ang dami kasing gagawin eh. There's a lot of things I need to do. There's a lot of things I need to finish. If we don't take time to step back, if we don't take time to think and be deliberate about, oh, teka, bago ako magsimula ng araw ko, ano ba yung importante sa akin? Ano yung gusto kong matapos, magawa itong araw na to? If you're not taking the time to do that, then again, you're setting yourself up to learn a habit that can be very stressful, right? Especially once you get into the office. One of the things I always tell my team members, and with the people, the managers, the leaders that I have in my leadership sessions, is work is never going to go away. Work will always be there. But how are you going to approach the work? Are you looking at it from a perspective that I have to do everything myself? Or are you thinking of it, okay, there's a lot of work, how can I delegate it? How can I develop people so that I can be confident enough? For me, when I say, oh, I share it with my team member, right? Oh, Dennis, I'm asking you to take care of this deliverable. That I'm able to be confident enough to say, oh, Dennis, ikaw na bahala dyan. And really mean it and be confident about it, right? So again, big rocks principle. Those three habits, being proactive, right? Um, excuse me, being proactive, right? Uh, Begin with the end in mind. What is it that you want to achieve? And putting first things first. Uh, Being able to express and readily identify what is really important for you. So those are the first tip that I have. Right? So what's the second tip? Practicing mindfulness. So like what I mentioned, right? It's great if you're able to, uh, take a step back, right? Be able to reflect and identify what are your priorities. But once you're able to now commit to a course of action, that's where you can do this second habit, practicing mindfulness. So it's being open hearted, being able to be aware, but still be open and be focused on the moment. There's a lot of things that, uh, there's a lot of corporate training that has gone through the decades, through the year. There's also one that's based off of a fish market, in Seattle, in the US, that talked about, how that can be an example for people in the corporate setting to practice mindfulness. But in this case, I'll take the work that's taken from, uh, excuse me, from a book, and the book is called The Mindful Leader, right? So in this case, when we talk about mindfulness, what the benefits of being able to focus, and uh, part of that is really ensuring that you don't have distractions, or you have technology work for you rather than against you, right? Being able to concentrate, being able to focus your attention, and being self-aware of what's happening so that you can self-correct, right? Those are natural qualities, but at the same time, and this is what's important in being mindfulness, and this is what I love about mindfulness and even emotional intelligence, which I'll talk more about in a little bit, is that these are trainable skills. These are things that, even if you feel that, you see some people and it seems like it's effortless for them. Ay, mukha namang hindi naman siya stressed, di ba? In school, they always get, the highest grades. Tapos parang hindi naman sila nag-aaral. Again, we don't know. Maybe in the background, they're doing all of these habits already. Or maybe, again, maybe they're just really talented. But all of these things, seven habits of highly effective people, practicing mindfulness and emotional intelligence, these are things that people can develop. You can learn. Anyone can learn this. Anyone can develop it. It just takes time, effort, and energy. Right? So, what's important to keep in mind about being mindful, right? And being in the moment. So, whether it's, let's say, for example, you're working on, what you call this, you're working on a presentation, right? Or you're working on maybe your thesis paper. How are you able to take out all of the other distractions? Do you put your phone on mute? Do you put it on airplane mode so that there's no incoming text or whatnot? Right? Is it making sure that you don't have, any windows open, right? Or even taking being specific about the schedule. I'll do 20 minutes of work, and then I'll take a 5 minutes break, and that break can be anything that you deem it to be. So again, there's a lot of ways. But what's important to keep in mind, and why is it important to practice mindfulness, is this. Based off of the book, the Mindful Leader, one of the things that was brought up is that when we work on something actively, when we're paying attention, when we're focusing on just one task and not trying to do, two, three, four different things all at once, is that it helps our brain to be efficient and quiet. Now, and this is where they make a differentiation. Eh. Oftentimes, right, and this is what people say, oh, sige, pahinga ka muna, di ba? Or give yourself a rest. Now, resting is an important activity. Right? And definitely, I would encourage you to put in or schedule in those rest breaks throughout the day, right? But what's important is that are you resting just enough to be able to recover your energy, or are you resting too long that you now refer to what is referred to in the book as the default state mode? So what's the problem with the default state mode? So the default state is the major resting state. So oftentimes this is like what the scientists and the studies, which I'll be sharing in a little bit, have associated that this is when we're not actively working on something, and so our brain itself is now inattentive. It could potentially become distracted. You get your phone, you start looking at social media, right? And then that's where it now begins to trigger recalling past experiences. I remember this person. This was my high school or grade school or kababata, diba? In my subdivision area, right? And it can promote daydreaming. Now, the thing about it is that you have some people saying, "Oh, daydreaming is good, diba? It allows you to tap into that imaginative state." But the problem is if you stay in this default mode state for too long and you're not able to shift back into active mode, then that's where potentially long term it can lead to, and these are various psychology studies, right? And so you can look it up on your own. Default network and being and staying for prolonged periods of time can potentially lead to higher levels of stress, anxiety, depression, right? It can even highlight or aggravate symptoms or situations wherein the person might have ADHD tendencies, right? So these are some of the things that, again, default state network can be associated with. And more importantly, and the last piece that you can see there is that it is also associated with reduced performance. And so again, that's what we were talking about: being mindful, making sure that you're conscious. Oh, nakapag-rest na ako ng 5 minutes, right? You may feel it's not enough, but it's a sign, it's a signal to your brain to say, okay, time to stop daydreaming. Let's get back in focus. Right? And again, each and every individual may have different preferences, and that's where I think and that has been the exciting or interesting part of my personal professional journey is finding out what is that. In my case, I love streaming videos in the background. So when I'm working on something, because my personal preference from MBTI standpoint is I have a preference for extroversion, so that I get energized by being able to see very nice backgrounds. My workstation is usually on the second floor of our house. It's set up facing outside the window, so I can see the neighbors, because at this point in time we're 2 years into working remotely from 2020 to present, right? Uh, so in this case, being able to listen to TV shows, even on reruns, I'm not really particularly listening to it, but the background, having that external stimulus, helps me get focused. So I'm able to now be productive, be more creative in terms of the work, especially if it's from an extrovert's perspective. Doing reports, doing emails can be a little bit boring if I'm just doing that to the exclusion of everything else, right? So what's the third tip, right? Developing emotional intelligence. And this has a direct impact of how we're able to better relate with people, how we're better able to understand people, and more importantly, it can impact those professional relationships that are really, again, the success or fail of many individuals from a work perspective, whether you're working in the academe, whether you're working in government, whether you're working in private companies, right? Because again, more and more as we're progressing, not just during the time of the pandemic, but even way before that, tasks, deliverables have continuously evolved, are getting more complicated, getting more demanding, and so a lot of times, what people are finding, especially for EY, those that are coming in, right? We have staff members that come in, maybe in their first year, they're already conversing with clients. So again, as time progresses, the work gets harder, the work gets more complex, and people are not just able to rely on their own individual performance. You need to work with other people. You need to collaborate. Your work might be just part of a whole piece or a whole report that you need to collaborate with other people, and that's what's important about it. Emotional intelligence, and I think the key understanding here for everything is really, it starts out with understanding yourself. Right? If you're able to now map out and keep and continuously reflect, oh, gutom ba ako, di ba? Baka kasi hindi ka nakakain, kaya you might have been a little bit short with your team member, right? Uh, so understanding self is very critical, right? So learning about what is it you like, dislike, um, are you distracted? Did you feel you planned out your day enough? Those are the beginnings, and from there, right, you can branch out to one or two directions. Either you go into self-management, which is again, for example, if you know gutom ka and you tend to be a little bit short-tempered, especially when you're hungry, right, hungry and angry, then you do something about it. Maybe you have snacks at your station, right? Um, or you can take another route and use that to now begin, oh, yung pinagdadaanan ko, is that the same experience for everyone? Right? Same symptoms ba? Right? So again, understanding others. And by doing that consistently and constantly, right, you're now able to have a positive impact or a more positive impact or results in terms of managing your social relationship, managing those discussions, those one-on-ones, those deliverables with your team members. Maybe for those of you that are yet to finish your thesis or go on your thesis year, maybe again that's something that impacts it. But the point of it is, it starts out with understanding yourself. If you're not taking the time to understand yourself, what your triggers are, how you can be in a better mood, right? Or if you know you need time by yourself, right? And this comes from people who have a preference for introversion. People, they just need time to be able to work things out internally. So again, take that time for yourself. But it starts out with understanding self. And so when we talk about, emotional intelligence, what's important, and oftentimes a lot of people mistake, is that it's not about catching or suppressing emotions. A lot of times, people say, ay, kasi dapat maging professional ako eh. Dapat poker face ako. Dapat hindi ako magpapakita ng galit or frustrated. But what I say to that is actually being passionate and letting your emotions show, especially in a corporate setting, can be productive. But the tricky part is how are you able to harness those emotions. So same thing as with stress, diba? Too much stress, you can get burned out. Too little stress, you're not going to get challenged, and you're going to have an even harder time when those challenges really come in. So it's maintaining that level of stress na parang, I have butterflies in my stomach. In my case, right, whenever I do these sessions, even though I can come across as very confident, very fluent, even a lot of things to say at sometimes, I still have those experiences of nervousness, di ba? Yung, ay, ano ba yung sasabihin ko? Baka makalimutan ko. Right? So, emotional intelligence is not about suppressing emotions. It's about being able to bring these emotions to the surface so that you can recognize and do something about it. And when you're comfortable enough, and this is not saying, oh, pagkagalit ka, dapat sabihin mo. Hindi. But it's more of like, paggalit ka, you realize that galit ka, what are you doing to control it? And then later on, especially if you feel that it's important for the other person to know about your emotions, then talk about it. Pero at that point, pinalipas mo na or nakalampas ka na. And that's what we were talking about, resiliency. Having the resiliency to get through these challenges, get through these obstacles. And by sharing it with your team, and this is an important key point, right? By sharing it with your team, you're now opening that level of conversation. And hopefully, in turn, when they reciprocate that, ay, oh, alam mo, actually, Dennis, nagalit din ako sa'yo. Kasi 'di ba nag-message tayo tapos hindi ka pala nag-check ng messages mo tapos magde-deliver na pala tayo ng thesis natin or whatnot, right? So having that healthy level of conflict or having that the healthy level of conversation is going to be very helpful in the long run, right? Now, what's the last thing that I wanted to share? It's, keep in mind when you talk about emotional intelligence, it's about managing your feelings so that you're able to express that appropriately and effectively. So it's not about suppressing, it's not about being nice. Right? Emotional intelligence and being able to relate genuinely to others. So hindi ka peke, hindi ka plastic, right? Allows you to work with others towards common goals and having a more genuine experience. And again, from my own personal perspective, that's where I've now been able to really build, lifelong friendships, lifelong relationships. Hindi ko na sila ka-team, pero we're still very much active in terms of discussions sa Facebook, social media, LinkedIn, etc. Right? And those are things that are very important in the long run. And so when we talk about, emotional intelligence, and these are very important, very memorable quotes, Daniel Goleman is considered to be the father of emotional intelligence. And what he said is that, there's intelligence to the emotions, and intelligence can be brought into emotions. So it's never a justification that, kasi galit ako eh, diba? Take it or leave it, right? And the last one is really a very interesting quote. Anyone can become angry. That's easy. But being angry, again, that, correct level, with the right person, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that's not easy. And I think that really recaps what's very important. And that's why, from an EY perspective, I've always been, very thankful and very fortunate that we've had that opportunity to really have a lot of programs available to us. Case in point, we have a lot of learning opportunities, not just based on professional needs, but also personal needs, right? Like social media marketing, right? And some of you might be very interested in that, seeing a lot of maybe friends or family having been successful doing online selling. In EY, we actually allow that. Another example is like the different learning programs that we've had. Anyone from, let's say, for example, I'm an executive assistant, but I'm interested in learning more about analytics. So EY badges, it's available for everyone. And I think the greatest, testament and one of the things that I'm most proud of to share in external events like this is really the commitment EY has put in into continued education. So 2020 last year, EY announced the program for our Tech MBA degree. So the very first one, which is the EY Tech MBA, was the very first globally launched full-fledged Master's in Business Administration degree sponsored by EY and partnered with Hult International Business School. This year, we've been very fortunate that we already launched as well a second postgraduate degree program, which is EY Masters in Business Analytics. And the great thing about it is that this is available for everyone. So it doesn't matter whether you joined today, Monday, or you've been with EY for 10 years, everyone is eligible to go after or to try for eligibility for these two postgraduate programs. And so we hope that, as I end my talk and hopefully you have that opportunity to explore beyond these openings that we've had in assurance, in consulting, in our excuse me, in our other programs, right? Like for our GDS operations teams and also for enablement services. There's a lot more, and we hope that you're able to visit us not just on the Jobs 180 site. If you want to know more about EY GDS and what is the type of work that we do, together with our 312,000 other EY employees across the globe, please do visit us at our EY career site. So with that, thank you so much, Sherry. Back over to you.
Thank you for that, Sir Dennis. So to our audience, we are now opening the floor for questions. So we have the first question here coming from Yvette Clarice Muyargas. Ayan, ang haba. Sir, do you have any advice for those people who always tend to overwork, keeping themselves busy just to avoid stressors? And it seems that they can't focus on finishing one task at a time. How should we recognize our other stressors or emotions so we can focus into work?
All right. And I think, Shari, in this case, I'll share the advice that I picked up, a long time ago in counseling. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oftentimes, diba, it's very difficult for us to sit still and say, oh, ano ba talaga yung kinaiinisan mo? Diba? And ano ba yung ginagawa mo na kinaiinisan din ng ibang tao? So just being self-honest, it's really a very, very difficult thing to do. And even in my case, diba, syempre, diba, we like to think the best of ourselves, right? Na, magaling ako speaker, magaling akong tatay. But it's being able to reflect and be honest enough to say, I can do better. I can still improve. I think that is where you're now able to, once you're able to be honest to yourself, then it becomes more humbling to ask from feedback from others. Parang, oh, ano pa bang pwede kong improve? Mas genuine na yung conversation. But it starts out with being comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's
Yeah,
my tip.
being okay na kailangan mo ng help right now. Yan.
Yes.
Sir, sir, I have another question here. Ito, sir, medyo marites yung dating niya. No? Uh, ang question, sir, is it true that millennials or Gen Z, they tend to have lower EQ than those coming from the older generations? What is your sir? What is your scoop?
Mhm.
ano
Ayan,
ano
in
how do you
In my case, I think yes, the studies do show a trend, pero you have to consider it, and this is where my love for history now comes in. You have to look at the historical events, and when you think about these generation, baby boomers, Gen X, which which is my generation, diba? Generation Y, Gen Z, millennials. You have all of these other external factors, internet, diba? Pandemic, affecting all of these things. So what it just says is that really understanding. But again, like what I shared with my presentation, it's not a death sentence, diba? If you're able to say, yes, possibly compared to other generations, mas relax yung millennials or mas hindi sanay sa hirap yung millennials, once you're able to acknowledge that and maybe check in on your own personal situation, because I know of a lot of millennials that again are working students. um, they did not, while they were in grade school, even they were already beginning to work or helping out their parents, diba? So all of these studies are just showing general trends. Dapat babalikan mo pa rin ano yung personal situation mo. Once you're able to be honest about that, you're able to come to grips with ano ba yung mga stress mo, ano yung mga hang-ups mo, di ba? Kasi it's really a journey, di ba? Hindi mo naman mararating yung success all in once, eh. It's a progress, it's a journey. Yeah.
Ayan. So, thank you for that, sir. So, question, guys. Run, going once, twice. Sigurado na ba kayo na wala na kayong additional questions? If wala na, so we are putting in, it's on your screen. It's jobsready.com/EYGDS. So, that's where you explore vacancies for EY. So, before kayo mag-graduate, look into it para pag-graduate nyo, alam nyo na kung saan kayo mag-apply. Ayan. So, Mr. Dennis, on behalf of LCUP and ICI College, we thank you again for joining us this afternoon, and we hope to have you again, sir, in other sessions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Shari.
Thank you, sir. Have a
Have a
great
great
day
week
po.
ahead, everyone.
Thank you. All right. So next up, we have Miss Katrina Camille Gaspar, Supervisor for Candidate Engagement of Inspiro, here to discuss with us developing strong work ethics. Miss Katrina graduated from Our Lady of Fatima University with a degree in Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. And before joining the industry, she was in the medical field, but she got interested in human resources. That is why she pursued a career in the BPO industry under talent acquisition team. So she has been with Inspiro for 7 years and currently managing the employee referral program and the Mandaluyong site of Inspiro. So Miss Katrina, Miss Kat.
Hi, good
Hi ma'am, good
afternoon.
afternoon. Welcome back. Ma'am, can we test your screen?
Sure.
Ayan, ma'am, today we have two schools joining us for this event. We have LCUP and we have ICI College. So to the students from those schools, please make sure that you stay at the end of the event because then we'll be showing you the evaluation link. So kapag hindi kayo nag-evaluate, hindi counted attendance nyo. Okay? Miss Kat, I think, ay, nawala siya, ma'am.
Ay,
Ayan, it's up, ma'am. It's up, it's up.
okay.
Ayan. So, Miss Kat, I'll be back after 20 minutes for the Q&A. Thank you, Miss Kat.
Thank you, Miss Shari. Hi, guys. Good afternoon. I'm Kat from Inspiro, and our topic for today is developing work ethics. So, first, let us all define what is work ethic. So, it says here that work ethic is a moral principles or values that an employee abides by and uses in their job performance. It covers an employee's behavior and attitude towards their job, career, and workplace. So, as simple as a set of standards of behavior and beliefs regarding what is and what is not acceptable to do at work. That's the simplest meaning of work ethics. Um, Work ethics can be good or bad, but it depends on the personal views of the employee, their motivation, and of course the overall company culture. Let's define what is good and bad work ethic. So it says here that a strong work ethic is an attitude an employee applies to their work that indicates a high level of passion for any work they do, while a bad work ethic is an attitude that an employee demonstrates that shows a lack of ambition and professionalism in the workplace. So people with strong work ethics, these are those who are very competitive and someone who looks like the ideal employee. The reason for this is that they have the drive for success that leads them to achieve their goals. Unlike the people with bad work ethics, they are those the ones always complaining, just going with the flow, lazy, or don't have any passion for the job. So, of course, we don't want to have bad work ethics. So, in the coming slides, I'll be sharing with you some tips on how you're going to develop a good work ethics. So, first, always be on time for work. So, make sure that you are early for work. Be in the office at maybe 15 to 30 minutes before your actual shift so you can still take a rest if galing ka sa malayong biyahe and you can still have time to freshen up dahil nga nahagard tayo sa pagbabiyahe lalo na pag malayo yung bahay mo from your office. You can also have quick snack or coffee before starting your work. And of course, you can prepare the things that you need for your work for the day. You should also avoid arriving to work at exactly your shift. Say, for example, your shift is 9 o'clock. Darating ka na exactong 9 o'clock. Iwasan natin yan because there's a feeling of rush that might affect your productivity for the whole day. Parang lagi kang nagmamadali. Feeling mo may nakalimutan kang gawin, may nakalimutan ka sa bahay, or may mga bagay na parang hindi mo maisip dahil nga rush ka because eksakto ka dumating. So it's very, very important that you arrive early. And the most important thing, of course, is don't be late. Because being late for work gives the impression that you are either lazy or not interested in the job. Although this may not always be the case kasi nga may mga unforeseen events like say for example na traffic or may nagkabanggaan or may emergency sa bahay and you cannot report to work on that day or you will be late. It's also very important that you inform your leaders or your superiors that you will be late or will not be reporting for shift on the said date. Kasi there are companies that the punctuality is part of their metrics. They're checking your attendance, if you're present or mostly late or madalas absent. It's part of the things that they are reviewing, especially if you're up for promotion or for salary increase. Next one is avoid distraction and focus. In the world we live in today, we have a lot of distractions. We all know that. Okay, it's a work in personal life, especially the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. YouTube, Netflix, lalo na sila Lazada and Shopee, lahat tayo nabubudol. So these things tend to steer away our attention from the important work that we need to accomplish within the day. So make sure that you guys take your work seriously. So during work time, make sure that you are doing work-related tasks, and that should be your primary concern. While working, you need to avoid opening your social media accounts kasi this really, kinakain nila yung oras natin yung social media accounts. You can open it during your break or at the end of your shift, or if your superiors or leaders requires you to read something online, or they want you to share something online. So long as it's work related, it's okay, but it's for personal use, I suggest you do it on your breaks or at the end of your shift. Kasi, yun nga, hindi tayo makaka-focus, wala tayong matatapos na trabaho. So, we need to focus. So, talking about focus, one thing para makafocus ka sa work is to do your own to-do list. So you're aware what to do next or what to do for your whole shift. So when you make your to-do list, make sure it's based on the urgency and importance of the work. Because there are times that we're putting a lot of items sa to-do list natin, but most of them are not important. Pag sobrang dami kasi ng to-do list mo, ma-overwhelm ka. So, feeling mo ang dami-dami mong gagawin. Hindi ka pa nag-uumpisa, nakakaramdam ka na ng pagod just by seeing your to-do list na madami. So, we also need to prioritize. We need na unahin yung mga importanteng bagay, yung urgent and important, sila yung mauuna. And then, yung mga less important or less urgent, pwede na dun sa middle part or lower part of your to-do list. So, very important that you need to prioritize them. So, having your to-do list will help you avoid distraction and focus on your work more. Third is focus on doing your work well. We all know that no one is perfect, but let's make sure that we do our job well just by simply following instruction and making sure that it's quality over quantity. Example for the quality over quantity is when you were able to take a lot of items dun sa to-do list mo, syempre may mahaba kang list, and then you were able to take a lot, or you were able to submit a lot of reports to your superiors, but then all were sent back to you because maybe may kulang or may mali, or in short, it's a rework. So parang pangit yung ganun. It's better to finish everything with quality than yung magre-rework ka. Madami ka ngang natapos pero hindi naman quality lahat. So let's make sure that it's okay, tama lahat yung sinasubmit natin. And we also need to have this do it right attitude. Do it right for the first time. Kasi kung hindi mo gagawin tama, masasayang yung oras mo, masasayang yung oras ng leaders mo or other departments who will be reviewing your work. So much better na you do it correctly. If you make it a goal to do your work well, it will actually increase your motivation to succeed. Kasi syempre, every time na you're doing it well, nako-comment ka, meron parang self-satisfaction and mas eager ka mag-work. Diba? Kasi nakakakuha ka ng compliment. Mas tumataas yung self-esteem mo. Another positive thing ng mabibigay sa'yo na doing your work well is that it can have a good impact on you kasi you can have your salary increase or you can be up for a promotion. So make sure na you focus on your work well and more on the quality side tayo, not with the quantity lang. Okay? Fourth, don't let mistakes ruin your progress. So as mentioned, we are not perfect, we're only humans, and we all make mistakes. It's normal to make mistakes, but let's not make it a habit. Those people with good work ethics are very capable of picking themselves up swiftly from their mistake. They learn from it and move on from it. Don't need to dwell on our failure. Kasi pag nag-dwell tayo dun sa failure, lalo tayong madadown. Wala tayong matatapos. We just need to learn from it and think of ways um, that we need to do to prevent it from happening. Or you can reassess the situation, tignan mo, anong pagkakamali ko, ano yung hindi ko nagawa. Para in the future, if it happened again, you know na what to do. You don't need to dwell on it, just learn from it. Yan yung lagi natin tatandaan. Kasi great things will happen if we embrace the failure. If we all, di ba, we all know that no one has ever achieved greatness without failing. So, it's normal lang, but don't make it a habit kasi pangit siya. Okay? Um, for the fifth item, it's form a can-do attitude. You need to have this can-do mindset. You need to do your job to the best of your ability because this will help you increase your focus and be determined to reach your goal. If you have this can-do attitude, yung mga positive effects nito is that you will know how far you can go, you can gauge yourself, kung kakayanin mo ba, kung hanggang saan yung kaya mo. You can learn a new skill or enhance your current skill. You can, baka pwede kang matuto na or malaman, maging aware na, ay, may weakness pala ako sa ganito. Kailangan kong i-improve. Say, for example, you were given a project, and this project is very new to you. I know there will be hesitations, may fear na baka hindi ko kaya. But then, we need to have this attitude na, kaya ko to, kakayanin ko to. Kasi along the way, habang ginagawa mo yung project, you will learn na, ay, parang magaling pala ako dito. So, you earn a new skill. Or, magaling ako dito. So, ganito yung gagawin ko. Alam ko na to. That way, you are enhancing your current skill that you have. Or parang, mahina ako sa time management. Alam mo, na-realize mo na mahina ka sa time management, and you can work on that. So, ayan yung mga positive things na pwede sa'yo maibigay ng can-do attitude. And if you were able to finish that project, there's this sense of different fulfillment. Parang iba yung saya na mafe-feel mo. Parang achievement unlocked. Kasi madami kang natutunan, you learn something new about yourself, and you were able to finish the project. So, every time na ma-feel mo na mahirap or hindi mo kaya, let's just be positive na we can do this. We can always ask for help naman with your workmates. But then, if you ask for help, wag naman nating hayaan na sila na yung gagawa ng lahat. You just need an extra hand to finish the project. You are still accountable of that project or of that job. Okay, that's for the can-do attitude. Sixth is create your own standard of excellence. So, for starters like you guys, what you can do is identify colleagues with good work ethics. Try to talk to them and determine what they do differently from you to be more proactive, or just by looking at them, how they work, makikita mo yung mga ginagawa nila. Kasi you can learn a thing or two from them na pwede mong i-apply sa'yo. And if it didn't work, you just use another method na mag-work sa'yo. Remember, guys, that you are the author of your own life. You are the author of your career. So, if you set your goals, make sure that it's very realistic, it's achievable, and you're capable of doing it. Huwag kang magsiset ng standard na based sa other people, kasi if you do that, you're just setting yourself to fail. Kasi nga, yung standards nila is based dun sa kakayahan nila. Kung gagayahin mo yun, for sure hindi mo ma-achieve kasi you are different from other people. Iba yung kaya mo sa kaya niya. So make sure that if you set standard, it's your own standard and you think yung kaya mong gawin. Huwag yung very impossible. Kasi malabo mong ma-achieve yung goal mo. So again, you need to create it on your own. We are different people. We have different points of view, different goals, especially when we measure success. This is very common for us na parang pag tinanong, do you think na successful ka na ba? Most of us will say, hindi pa ako successful. Kasi, pinapattern nila yon dun sa success ng other people. Like, kunwari, tatanungin ako, feeling ko ba successful ako? Sasabihin ko, hindi. Kasi wala pa akong sariling kotse, wala akong sariling bahay, I don't have my own family. Unlike yung mga batchmates ko or office mates ko, they have their own house, they have their own family, may sariling kotse, nakapag-travel na sa iba't ibang countries. Remember na magkakaiba tayong tao. Iba yung kaya mo sa kaya ko. Iba yung way of living mo sa way of living ko. So make sure every time na nagsiset ka ng goals, it's your own standard, yung kaya mo. Huwag yung galing sa ibang tao. Para it's very easy for you to achieve it kung sarili mo kasi mas kilala mo yung sarili mo kung hanggang saan yung kaya mo. Okay? Seventh, be reliable and professional. So being professional is not just by wearing yung nice suit, nice dress, nice shoes, but it also includes your attitude and values. Being respectful, showing consistency and reliability, being honest, those are all part of being professional. Also, practicing courtesy and politeness at work will help build your reputation as a reliable employee in your company. You need to avoid yung gossiping. Iwasan natin maging marites because it's very, very unprofessional. Huwag tayo mag-umpisa ng chismis or makijoin sa mga chismis ng kapitbahay or ng mga ka-workmates mo. It's really unprofessional. Another thing to avoid is complaining. Um, if you are having a hard time with something, please don't complain. Try to think of ways that can be done to solve your problem or your team's problem. And then after that, provide suggestion. So in that way, you're able to help yourself, your team, or the company. Huwag tayong puro reklamo. Gumawa tayo ng solusyon for that. Being proactive is a part of being professional. And another thing to avoid, um, when you are not able to complete your work or you make mistakes, don't make excuses and never ever blame other people if you know that you are the reason why you are not able to finish your job. Because owning your mistake or shortcomings and promising to improve in the future shows maturity and a willingness to work well with other people. You need to be accountable in every action. Kung alam mong nagkamali ka, own it. Just make sure that you will never do it again. That's part of being professional. And lastly, you should maintain a good work-life balance. You need to start by taking care of yourself, staying healthy, treating your body right. As mentioned kanina, kunyari pag gutom ka or kulang ka sa tulog, di ba? We tend to be irritable. Mabilis kang mainis, simpleng tanong, nakasigaw ka, hindi pumapasok sa isip mo lahat ng sinasabi sa'yo. There's no passion. And yung attention span is very low. So this might have a negative impact at work. So make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of your health. Everyone actually needs a mental break. You need to have social life. Hindi lang puro work, work, work. You also need social life kasi maintaining a life beyond work is actually part of developing a good work ethic. Kasi if you have, say for example, weekend, if you were able to enjoy the weekend, you're able to go out with your friends, go out with your family, nagkaroon ka ng me time, come Monday, you have this positive vibe or positive aura that you can share to your team and then mas mafe-feel mo na you were more determined. Mas focus ka when it comes to work if you have a social life kasi hindi ka madudrain or hindi ka mabu-burnout. That's the one thing that we need to avoid, being burnout. Kasi pag burnout ka na, your body might automatically shut down, mawawalan ka na ng passion with work, and parang feeling mo lahat mahirap, nakakapagod. So, you don't want that to happen. So, make sure that you have your social life. So, when you are off, when it's your rest day, make sure that you disconnect yourself completely to your work. Try not to think about your pending projects. Try to avoid reading your emails on the weekends or talk too much about work to your friends and family kasi nga, mag-burn out ka na puro work, work, work lang yung pinag-usapan. You also need to socialize. Okay? So, those are the tips that I wanted to share with you to develop strong work ethics. So, I know doing all of the above at one time is a little bit difficult, but work on one area first and then assess yourself as you go along. And then if things doesn't work out, you need to make adjustments and find other ways to gradually build your strong ethics. So that's it for me. I hope I was able to help you guys and impart some knowledge. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that, Miss Kat. So to
Thank
our
you.
audience, we are now open for questions. Pwede na kayo magtanong kay Miss Kat. So habang nag-iisip kayo, I'll go first. So Miss Kat, number one, ano po yung pinakaayaw nyo na example ng isang bad or I don't know ayokong i-term ng bad eh. Pero ano po yung isang example yun na hindi magandang practice when it comes to work ethics? Yung you wish this should change yan for especially for newbies in the industry.
Well, for me, I think it's yung complaining. Kasi it's very, very common na, pero ang hirap naman ito, hindi ko kaya ito, bakit ibibigay sa akin? Or especially when they're comparing themselves sa other, bakit siya ito lang ginagawa, ako ito lang yung ginagawa. The reason why you were given that task kasi yung leader or superior mo believes in you and knows that you can do the job. So, never ever complain. If you have problem with your job, reassess first muna. And then if you think na may kailangan changes, you can talk to your boss and explain na ito yung makapwedeng, you can do suggestions para hand in hand kayo kasi it's gonna be a win-win situation for the both of you if you magbigay ka ng suggestion instead of complaining, di ba? So yun, complaining and comparing lalo na yung workloads.
Ayun. Thank you for that, Miss Kat. My second question would be regarding vacancies and available positions po at the company po where the students can explore sa Inspiro po.
Okay. So, since you guys will be graduating, we actually have an opening in our Quezon City site in Pasig site. If you're near those places, you can apply. You can send your resume through jobs180.com/inspiro. Qualifications for this, we have a seasonal account in our Quezon City site. Minimum qualification is at least high school graduate with or without call center experience. This is an order taking account. So if you guys are interested to join the BPO industry, this is actually a good start for you guys. If medyo natatakot ka pa, you can join this account in our Quezon City site. We also have an opening in our Pasig site. This is for a financial account. All graduate of 4-year course are accepted. You guys are welcome. So this is a financial account. The difference is that this is a work on site, while the offer that we have for our guest and site is a work from home setup. So kung mga taga Bulacan kayo and you're looking for jobs na work from home, you can apply in our guest and city site. That's it.
Alright, so thank you for that, Miss Kat. We hope to see you soon po in other sessions. So
So
for
thank you for
our audience, the link for Inspiro is jobsready.com/Inspiro. So that's where you explore, that's where you study their vacancies so you know where to apply after graduation. Ayan. Miss Kat, thank you for lending your time on behalf of Jobs 180, ICI, and LCUP. We hope to have you again po in future sessions.
thank
Thank you,
you
Miss Kat.
guys. Thank you, Shari.
Happy Monday, Miss Kat.
Happy Monday.
Ayan. So, here to award the certificate, we'd like to call on Miss Filipina M. De Leon, LPTRGC Guidance Counselor for ICI College. Hi, ma'am. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon po.
Ayan.
Am I being audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes
Ma'am, we're
po.
streaming right now. We will put you on spotlight po.
Okay. Do I have to share my file?
You can, ma'am. Pwede po.
Okay po. Okay. I just shared my screen na lang ba? Ano ba?
Yes, sige, ma'am. Sige, ma'am. You can share your screen po.
Okay, I'll just
Tap
open it
share
up.
po at the bottom.
Yan.
Ayan. And then, share screen.
Okay. So, good afternoon everyone. I hope icons are doing well pa. Handyan pa po ba kayo? So,
Ma'am,
to
pa-full
avoid...
screen lang po ako nung ano.
Okay.
Ayan.
Yes po.
Ayan.
Ay,
Ito po, ma'am. Thank you po.
can I do it in my PowerPoint para mas malinaw siya?
Pwede naman,
Yan.
ma'am. Basta po naka-full screen.
Yan. Okay na po.
Ayan. Maganda na, ma'am.
Yan.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay po. Once again, I would like to thank Debs 180 for this one afternoon and to Immaculate Conception I College of Arts and Technology here at Poblacion, Santa Maria, Bulacan, present this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Kim Chua for invaluable time and expertise as resource person for resume writing given during the webinar for graduating students held this November 29, 2021 at Immaculate Conception I College of Art and Technology, and it was signed by Attorney Normita Villanueva. And of course, the same content to the certificate of appreciation to Miss Lyra Danica Dosado for in preparation for virtual interview for our graduating students. And of course, to Mr. Dennis Supetran for stress management. And last one to Miss Katrina Camille Gaspar for a very wonderful and interesting developing strong work ethics. Signed Miss Attorney Normita Villanueva. And lastly, I would like to present this certificate of appreciation to jobs180.com for inexhaustible support given to our students and graduates given during the webinar for graduating students held on November 29, 2021 at Immaculate Conception I College of Arts and Technology, Santa Maria, Bulacan. Signed, Attorney Normita Villanueva, ICI School President. Thank you po. Salamat po, Jobs 180.
Thank you din po, Miss Pina. Thank you po for that, ano. Ma'am,
I'll just send na lang po for, for
we will be,
email.
distributing it to the speakers via email na lang po. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am, I'll be, please be on standby po because you have to show po the closing remarks for Dr. Mateo po, right?
Okay po.
Okay, guys. Sige, ma'am. So now, to give us the closing remarks, so we asked for a recorded material from Dr. Neil B. Mateo, ICI College Director, for all of the graduates of ICI here today. So, can we play it?
Just one step to your dream career. Despite the pandemic, I know that you can pursue the education you deserve. There are three things that you all must possess to survive in these challenging times. First is to keep yourself abreast of the technology. Second, the need of every person to have a positive attitude and approach to any given situation. And the last and the most important thing is to keep the faith and trust in God. Always remember that your better future is not possible without Him. I wish everyone a good luck and you may find the best and suitable career after your graduation. God bless you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Mateo. Now, to represent LCUP, we have here Ms. Rosaline Galvez, Student Affairs and Services Director, to give us the closing remarks.
Healthy and safe day to everyone. Theodore Roosevelt once said, and I quote, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." In behalf of our department, the Student Affairs and Services, we would like to congratulate the Student Welfare Services and the Career and Job Placement Unit, headed by their hardworking coordinator, Professor Maria Isabel Guevara, and the Career and Job Placement Officer, Ms. Camille de la Cruz, for this very helpful and gratifying virtual career orientation that tackles online application, virtual interviews, developing strong work ethics, and of course, stress management. Indeed, this has been a great learning and knowledge sharing experience that has enhanced everyone's awareness. I also want to comment on the active participation of our dear graduating college student. I think we have a very good discussion that was great and very rewarding to see. Thank you for the untiring support and trust you have given in our university. To our resource speaker, who generously shared their knowledge and experience to all of us, thank you so much. This virtual career orientation was done to help you, our beloved student, to combat mental health issues and problems amidst pandemic, and also to strengthen the psychosocial support to you, our dear student. Remember, the La Consolacion University Philippines is the university that will help you develop holistically even at times of pandemic. Again, I would like to extend my congratulations to all of you for your contribution in this very successful webinar. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you for that, ma'am. So to our audience, we will now be flashing the links to the evaluation. It is also on the comment section. So please evaluate on the links provided by your schools. So for LCUP is the one on top, and for ICI nandun sa ibaba. So wag kayo maliligaw. Right? So we would like to thank our partners, Yo Group, for being one of our sponsors for this event. And please check them out at Lazada and on Shopee, or at the nearest mall in your area, the CEO store. For career opportunities, it's jobsradio.com/CEO group. Please watch out for the next set of webinars that we are hosting this week and next week. So we will be flashing the topics. We will be putting the topics and the time and the schedule on our Facebook page. So everyone's welcome to join in those sessions, and it's for free. So see you guys. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.
Hail to ICI, great is the sun, and white it goes round with blue and white.
The clinical trial market as we know it is about to change. We're revolutionizing the current state aligned to disparate, slow, and often manual processes. Optum's vision is to transform the drug development process to one that is centered and grounded in real-world patient behavior and physician practice. Optum's ability to access this unique network and fold in the strongest data and analytics expertise will enable us to jointly bring life-saving drugs to the patients who need it most. Join us in this partnership to bring our shared vision for real-time, real-world healthcare research for real patients.